Hello, everyone. Welcome to Indie Game Club. We're super excited to have you with us today. It's been a few weeks, so we're super excited to be back, whether you're watching on Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook. We appreciate you. My name is Michael Zhitkov, and I'm excited to be joined with three amazing folks, all EDDA Alliance members, actually. Look at y'all. I love how y'all come in strong. Let me change one thing real quick here. We got to do our ceremonial Courtney American Girl doll background if you familiar with our meme love over here. My name is Michael Zhitkov. I'm the founder and executive director of Potions and Pixels. We're a nonprofit based in Charlotte, North Carolina. Definitely make sure to check us out on all the social media platforms, our website, potionsandpixels.com. You can see all the cool things we do, from game development, workforce development, events, what have you. A lot of stuff focused on the social impact of games. And we are going to have a great show for you all today. We are covering 4 games: Magic Twins, A Garden on the Sea, EDDA Café, and Ethereal Estate. And as always, we have a great conversation around this. And I'm joined with 3 amazing folks, as I said, from the EDDA Alliance. Let's start off to the right over here with Legend of the Star. Legend, I'll drop your info into the chat. Can you tell folks who you are and where they can find you?
Yeah, so, hello, I'm Legend of the Star. I am one of the Athena goddesses, the goddess of indies. I stream exclusively just indies on my channel. I'm here usually on Twitch, Tuesdays through Thursdays, around like 10:30, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when I try to start. Fridays and Saturdays, I'm on glimish.tv, same name. You can usually find me everywhere under that. I like to keep it real, keep it straight. But I'm super excited to talk about these games with you guys. I have my notes, so I'm ready.
I love you always come prepared with your notes and everything. And I've been meaning to ask you, how's Glimish been going? Because I know you've been a big proponent of it.
I actually had it's only been open for like a few weeks, right? But their meetings have been fantastic. They have subcategories now. I can type indie games and it's there. I can type indie demo and it's there.
Yeah.
In the category. It's been cool, and I've actually had people come by because the way that their algorithm works, I guess everyone is just sort of mixed up in the bunch. So every time you refresh, it's completely different, the setup you're watching. And I've had people come by on my streams because they're curious. Because I've just been playing a lot of demos from the Indie World Order convention that's going on right now.
Yeah.
And so they've been like, yo, what's this? How's it going? Blah, blah, blah. And you know me, like I talk and I've been going on my rants lately. So it's been cool, like introducing people that have never really experienced indies on a fresh platform. That's awesome. It's been really good for my ego, to be honest.
I like it. Folks in the chat, if you're familiar with Glimish or thinking about checking out some of the other streaming platforms outside of the big ones right now, let us know your thoughts. Certainly interested in hearing that. Hey, Fangirl Review, how are you? Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate you there. Well, as is tradition here, let's make sure we keep this high energy. Clap it up for all of our amazing guests. Let's clap it up for Legend of the Star. Legend, thank you as always for being here with us. All right, let's keep that going for Emmy. Emmy over here in the top right corner, co-founder of the EDDA Alliance. Emmy, can you introduce yourself and tell folks where they can find you?
Right, so as you said, Michael, and thank you so much for the mini introduction. I'm Emmy from the EDDA Alliance, which is an initiative here in Charlotte that is focused on women gamers and our allies. You can find me at Demon Angel Clone online or DL Clone on Twitter. And you can also just type in at Athena CLT everywhere. And you can, look up the EDDA Alliance as well. So thank you so much for inviting us to come and interview, do these games tonight. Yeah. I'm really excited to do the reviews.
Yeah, super excited to have you. Thanks, Emmy. Let's clap it up for Emmy. Always love having you. Super excited, especially for the first game, because by watching you, we should say, and I'll say this again when we go to it, but the first game we're going to be looking at, Magic Twins, I found when I was watching Emmy, so Emmy was playing it on the front page of Twitch, we should say, what was it, Afro-Latino event?
Yes, it was the Afro-Latinx celebration
Got
for
it.
Latinos in gaming, so that development team is in Spain actually, and Carlos was so nice to play with me that night. So I'm actually really excited to review that one too.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about
I'm
that one.
excited. I played with Carlos as well. He and I kind of like did a little stream on my channel, and he was hilarious. He's a funny dude.
Yeah.
I like him a lot.
I saw him wearing the witch magician cap and playing with you guys, and I remember just watching that gameplay, and I was like, this is too cool. We have to talk about this. So excited that'll be our first game we discuss. Last but certainly not least, we got Angelic Layla, who has braved a whole host of issues. Her computer's not working. She's calling in through her phone. She hasn't had a chance to play the games this week, but we want her to, give her input on all of the great stuff. And if you're a regular watcher of the show, you know how she always gives it her all with everything and comes correct with her perspective. So we're excited that you're able to join us even under these conditions. Can you let folks know who you are and where they can find you as well?
Yes, thank you guys for having me. I love y'all so much. I love being here. I love being part of Indie Game Club, and I appreciate the fact that y'all are so welcome and non-judgmental. But
love it.
I'm Angelic Layla. You can find me on Twitch. It's Angelic_Layla. I usually am playing Shinobi Striker, which is a Naruto-based fighting game. And I'm part of the NW clan, which is one of the biggest clans on Shinobi Striker as a whole on all platforms. You can also catch me in the Athena Alliance with these beautiful, lovely women that I get to be on the same team as. I'm also on the Game Hers. I'm one of the Game Hers ambassadors. I actually just got approved to run an ad with my face for them
awesome.
on their social platforms, so I'm excited about that. Also, you can catch me on TikTok being annoying, but my day-to-day life is always on Instagram and Snapchat, so follow me on Instagram or Snapchat. It's my biggest platforms to where I communicate and all that stuff as well. So thanks for having me.
Awesome.
Love you guys.
Always love having you. Let's clap it up for Angelic Layla, everyone. Got an awesome crew with us here today. Great. So let's get started with our first game. Was the one we were just talking about, Magic Twins. As you can see up there as well, we are super excited to actually be able to give a Steam key out to one of you who's watching right now, whether you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, however you're watching. If you're watching on a phone, laptop, computer, what have you, you got a chance to win. So huge shout out to the developers Flying Beast Labs, and huge shout out to Emmy for arranging this as well. So super excited to be discussing this game. So I'll give a brief description of this game and then we'll jump right into it. So this is, again, Magic Twins from Flying Beast Labs and published by Badland Publishing. Magic Twins is a cooperative arcade puzzler game in which Abra and Kadabra must use their Chromagic powers to defeat hordes of color elementals and stop the Color Mageddon. I got lots of things to say about this game, but I want to start with you all first. How did you all enjoy this game? We should say you can play this game one player and two players. I think the ideal way is to play two if you have an opportunity. I had a great time playing this with my kids. But Emmy, since you were the first one to kind of introduce this game to us here, I'd love for you to start and let us know the inside scoop behind the game and what you think about it.
Okay, so just a little bit of background. I've been involved with the indie game business, so not to be confused with Indie Game Club, but the indie game business server for quite a few months now. And I just kind of presented myself to the community, and one of the developers reached out to me and said, hey, we're coming out with this title. We would love to see people play it, stream it. And then it came up again last month, and I was like, you know what, you have two female protagonists, it's Women's Month, let's do it. And so we decided to feature it for the Afro-Latinx celebration. It is honestly one of the cutest titles I've played this year. The game is centered around sisters Abra and Kadabra, and they are on an island from which they don't really face any harm per se, but what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to hone their magic skills by creating spells using different colors. So from this, that's where like the main premise of the game comes from. So you're spending most of the time in the game, um, you know, either you can play single player or you can do co-op through remote play, or local in the game as well. So what you're doing is you're spending your time just trying to figure out like how to, um, create the different spells, what elementals are, what enemies are in the game, and you're just kind of, throwing them out. It's very fast paced,
Yeah.
very cognitive driven. I love the bright colors, the art style. I was talking to an animator friend of mine the other night, and I kind of had him look at it, and he was like, "You know what? This reminds me a lot of like the Klasky, Chupo art style from like the Rugrats." And I was like, "Oh my god,
Interesting.
it
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
It's so cute." And
is
yeah,
cute.
so like you go through the game. The game has over 50 levels,
Mm-hmm.
and an endless mode. So that's just endless amounts of fun for you and the kids, if you want to play it. And just also another fact, the developer didn't intend for this to be for kids. But to me, I think they're going to be the core audience of this game. Like, there's no way they can't. It's perfect for them. Perfect for learning colors, and also perfect for following instructions, and
I think with math too. I think it's really helpful with math. Because you
with
really have
math
to
it
pay
would be
attention.
great.
Yeah, with how many you have to do. I was quite surprised because I asked him the same question about it when I was talking to him during our stream. Was as a parent, I said this is very appealing to kids. Like, this is something, it's very family friendly. It's very fresh. It's, you've got the multiple player aspect of it. The remote play is super accessible to use via Steam, which I have no idea why I never used it before. It's crazy. And he was laughing about it. He's like, "Yeah, no, I didn't. It wasn't planned. It wasn't something we had like totally. It wasn't our idea." But I was like, "Yo, do it. The moms out there, trust me, this would be good." Because parents are looking for more games for our kids to play that are age appropriate, because there aren't that many out there that are.
I totally feel you on that. I should say that I played it both with my 12-year-old son and my 6-year-old daughter, and my 6 she was knocking it out. She absolutely loved this game. I agree wholeheartedly with everything you guys said right there. Quick shout out, Mystic Tightness. Thank you so much. Always coming through hard with the gifted subscriptions. Appreciate you so much there. Thank you so much for that. It's very nice of you. A big supporter of Indie Game Club. Very much appreciated.
Yeah. Now, I did this game keyboard mouse. Did you do this with controller, Emmy?
I did it with keyboard and mouse. So
not keyboard and mouse, but keyboard. I mean.
Yeah, I did it with keyboard actually. And the funny thing is, like, with my gameplay, I did the remote play via Steam with Carlos. So when I'm gonna just pull up my keyboard for reference. So if you're doing like 2-player, you have to use the SDA keys for the first player, but for the second player, you use your 1, 2, 3, 4 keys on your notepad. So like that's player 1, and then that would be for player 2. And I thought that was so kind of inventive how they did that. So you could play the game locally with 2 small children, or you can do the remote play if you're playing with someone who's not close by you. And just the fact, like I said, you have over 50 levels of the game, so it's definitely a continuous adventure.
Yeah, and it's absolutely replayable.
Totally
They
replayable.
said they're coming out with DLC too.
Yeah.
So it's like, what is the DLC? How can this game get any better?
Yeah, they did like I can't like rave enough about this. I will say I did play it with controller. I like the fact that the controller, the colors were mapped perfectly to the Xbox colors. So if you wanted to switch to green, you would press A, Y for yellow, that sort of thing. So I think I would personally say controller would be the best way to go if you can, but I love what you guys said as far as keyboard having 2 people on 1 keyboard. I think that's really awesome.
Well, not just that, but as you're playing the game as like the like for my gameplay, when I was using the keyboard, it's total home row.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy, the way that the things are set up. So I was like, huh, that's nice, because for like a kid too, it's really good to make sure that
Yeah.
you've got finger placement is really important. But once I got like the groove of it, I was like I was a little impressed with myself.
Yeah.
But I was a little bad at it though. Like, he kept telling me how to, because it's so crazy, because if it gets too fast, right, the ants are coming down, or whatever it is that's coming down at you, it's coming down to you hard, right? So you have
Yeah.
to make sure that you're on point with them colors. So I was like shooting the wrong. I was getting so
Yeah, and you're like yelling at each other.
I
Shoot the
wouldn't be
red, shoot the
into
blue.
border. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, he kept telling me, like, he had to tell me, like, I was like, tell me what to do, just do it. And he kept telling me like what color or whatever, and I was starting to get the pattern of it, and it took me a little bit to catch on, but it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Because it was just, it's so fast paced. And then there's those modes where it's like the no color at all, right? Where it's white, or you have to hit the black ones, you have
Yeah.
to figure out what the color is.
Exactly.
Like, it was pretty intensive. It's different modes each and every time. It's not just your average, like Angry Birds, you know what I mean? Where it's
Yeah.
like it's the same, it's whatever.
That's what I love
every
so
time
much,
I
that
replay the level.
yeah, every level feels different because the objective.
Yeah.
So those who are watching, we got about I think like 15 or so minutes of gameplay running in the background. That's officially from the developer. But as Legend and Emmy said, like, there is constantly new things. So every level you play has a different objective, and then it has like sub objectives. So if you've played things like Overcooked before, you can see like you can collect up to 3 stars, that sort of thing. And so it not only makes you want to keep playing each map to try to perfect it, but then you're constantly switching up your strategy. You're switching up the fact that the enemy types are different. That at the bottom you'll notice you can cast spells as well, so you can transform the colors of the enemies. In some levels, they twist it, and so you want enemies to reach you, but otherwise, traditionally, you don't want them. It's kind of like tower defense in that way, I guess. I don't know if that's the best way to put it, but you want to prevent the enemies from reaching you, because, like, I think 3 hits or so, and your kind of barrier collapses, and they break through. But this is totally a great game. For those in the Charlotte area who've been to a Potions and Pixels event, I think the thing we're probably most known for as far as our events was featuring indie games, especially indie local multiplayer games. And folks know that I am vociferously like hunting for like new local multiplayer experiences. And I absolutely can't wait to show this off at a future event, because I think this is the perfect game for people to just pick up and play. To me, this truly like is up there. It's truly up there for local multiplayer cooperative games. I'd love to see this in an arcade cabinet. I think this would be is a phenomenal experience for all ages. Layla, I'm curious what you think. You see the gameplay here, and you kind of hear us talking about it. Is this something that's up your alley? What do you think about it?
Oh, definitely. I can definitely see me and Aurelia playing this together.
Yeah.
Like, we've been trying to play a lot of games together. Other than like Diablo 3 is one of our favorite things to play, but this is age appropriate. It's colorful, like you said.
Yeah.
All the keys and everything is corresponding. It's just easy. It looks like it would be an easy time, and also at the same time, Emmy was saying that there's 2 female protagonists, so it's very up our alley, like for me and my daughter.
Yeah,
for sure. I think the last time I played something that had like the same feel, or like the same kid friendly feel, was one of my favorite games is Zelda 4 Swords.
Oh yeah,
where you have like the 4-player, you just play with it.
Absolutely.
You have the objectives to like get things done together.
Yeah.
And whatnot. So I definitely up my alley, definitely age appropriate, and definitely want to play this with my daughter. Like, the colors and everything is cute. Like, and the fact that it's magic is just a 10,000 times more plus.
Yeah.
So.
And my daughter was going wild over like the skins. Like you can change either Aberk or Dabber, change the color. Like you can have them. Like
so there are different skins that you can get. Yeah, you can change the colors to it. It's like the most adorablest thing. Like, it makes it even better because then you have like these skills that you can unlock. As you progress through the game.
So
it's so cool. It's so cute.
And the level types and the different challenge.
My daughter spends for sure. She would love the skins.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Yeah, it's a cool level of customization there. I'm honestly having trouble finding something to be critical about in this game. Honestly, and we should say, like, full disclosure as we do, like, this one, the Flying Beast Labs did provide us with Steam keys for this, as well as an additional key to give to one of you all. So again, if you're in the chat right now, whatever chat you are in, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, throw in some questions or comments in there, and we'll randomly select one of you to get a copy of this game, which just came out recently. This is a brand new game. But I'm really having trouble coming up with something critical about it. I'm blown away with the level of polish here. This is like, this truly, I think, I'm really hoping it catches on. Honestly, I'm really hoping. I remember like when when Overcooked first came out, we were like one of the early people to like stream it. The devs were in our chat. Like it was a little known game at that point, and I feel like this is totally could be in that direction. Like people could. We could see this being like a big cooperative hit among
and it's
families
accessible
and
in a
friends.
lot of language. I believe Carlos was telling me that they're working on German next and
nice.
trying to be more inclusive. They have color blind mode. They have
you want to talk about that, like the accessibility?
Your eyesight, like it was absolutely I asked like so many questions. I was like, I had so many questions, and then it was so funny because the I guess one of the developers that had actually mapped the keys for it, and I was doing keyboard. We were all like, they were just teasing me. It was hilarious, and I kept zapping Carlos. I was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was like, whoop. I kept accidentally zapping him in the face.
We should mention that. So like, if you send your magic powers and they go to the opposite side to where your
you'll
partner
hit your
is.
sister in the face.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you'll totally mess her up. And then there's like this magic cauldron that comes in and it lies to you, so you can't really believe anything it says, because at first, like when you first start the game, there's like the cauldron, and it's like, oh, you've got to whatever, we need these colors. So you're like, okay, cool, and you have to zap them with like the colors that he tells you to. So you're like, right, that's dope. And then all of a sudden it's Color Mageddon, and he just explodes with like all these things, and then he shows up again at like one level. Was it the endless mode, or I think it was one of the beach island that was on here, one of the maps that's on here.
Yeah.
And he pops up again, and he's like, you need 4,000 something of this color and 4,000 of that, but it's a trick, like, because it's the number is in the color of whatever, so it's really red, but it's, next to the, it was, so I messed that up. I didn't pay attention to that, and I zapped it. And Carlos was like, yeah, no.
Yeah, there's some cute like meta humor where I think like I think it's mainly Kadabra, one of the sisters, who like kind of talks about that stuff. Maybe Abra does as well, but I remember Kadabra, maybe because that's who I was playing, kind of like talks about like jokes about the developers and that sort of thing, which is really cool.
They have like a little bit of like, especially I think when you hit the other one in the face too, like something happens, but they made like little jokes about the developers that were participating in it. But he said that I think Maria is one of the high scorers, is what I recall, and I think she may be one of the animators.
Oh, cool.
One of the designers, but I think it was his wife is the one who made their noises.
Oh, really?
So when Abra and Kadabra make their little like, or like the little sounds that you hear, like when they talk or whatever, that's actually Carlos's wife, I believe.
That's awesome. Do you know the size of their team? Did you guys get a chance to? Did they reveal any of that stuff or anything?
It's about a 5-person team.
Wow,
it's not
that's
a large
awesome.
Team.
Yeah.
That's
And they're
really
in
impressive.
Spain, and I kept him up. He's like, he kept going like, what? I was like, no, dude, it's like you're in another country. It's like, wait for you. He's like, oh no, I party in Spain all the time, like before the pandemic hit. He's like, it's fine. This is nothing to me. It's like my wife was watching for a little while, and I think she's already in bed. And I was like, yo, go. And then like even after we stopped, like we were having such a friendly time. We were still chatting a little bit. And I was like, yo, go to bed. Boom, and I bounced. It was one of those instances where he just had to leave because he's just so friendly. They all are, like, chat was like, they were all just like laughing. We were all carrying on. It was so much fun, and it was really nice to be able to play a game with someone from a completely different, like, halfway across the world, right? Like, across the ocean, and remote play. And I'm like, dude, like, why have I never played remote play before? It's crazy. Like, I should have been.
It's also it worked for you guys well too, right? across the ocean. And
it's so weird.
Remote play is a great feature. And I don't know if you guys saw, but Steam, Valve changed it recently. I don't know if it's gone into effect yet. I haven't tried it, but I know I saw it on several of the game websites where now you can just drop a link to somebody. They still have to have Steam, but like the invite, if I wanted to play remote play with you guys, I just drop a link, you click it, and you can connect.
I think so.
Which is pretty awesome.
I think you might be right, yeah.
So that's really cool.
It was a little tricky for me to kind of navigate at first. I'd never done it before, and it was a little late, but I was just off schedule because I had started early.
Yeah.
I was on time, and when you're on time to things, when you're usually late, it just totally threw me off.
Throws everything off.
So, like, whoop. So it was a little tricky, I guess, at first, because I wasn't completely understanding how, because it'll tell you like what you want to use, whether the game is like controller or whatever, and it'll actually tell you like if the other person what they're using. And so for some reason I couldn't get my controller to work at first. with the remote play, and it did for like a little bit, but it's interesting because the other person doesn't even need to have the game number one to even play remote play, by the way.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. And the person who like basically starts up the remote player, you can take turns with the control of the game per se.
Yeah.
So he was just taking me places. Like he's like, let's do this, and I was like, all right, he can take us to the map. And
we should say for
like,
those who are not familiar with remote play, just like Legend says, like you're essentially simulating the experience of a local multiplayer experience online. So this game currently doesn't have online multiplayer, but there's a lot of games on Steam that don't, or even if they do, you want to be able, and if somebody else doesn't own a copy, you can do exactly this, where essentially it simulates somebody kind of dialing into your setup. And so it's, I guess, tricking, so to speak, the system into thinking that there's multiple players there. But it sounds like, I mean, even across the ocean, you guys had overall good performance issues with it?
Oh, it seemed pretty easy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What about you? Yeah.
It was pretty good for me, personally. We did have like a couple of issues because like we played the game literally the night it launched.
Yeah.
So when we played it, there were like a couple of like little weird glitchy things with the controls, but once we got going, it was smooth sailing.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely would love to hear from the chat what you guys think about this, and if this is something that is up your alley. Like I said,
it's
I can't.
Fun. Like I
enough.
wouldn't just. It's perfect if you have children, but it is definitely not. Like so many people were streaming it. My Twitter is like filled with feed of people like just from everywhere playing the game, and yeah, it's definitely perfect for adults as well. So don't be fooled by its cutesiness. It's great to be able to have as a parent games you can play with your children. Especially nowadays, it seems like it's kind of like in movies. If you guys like notice, like everything comes out like in groups. So it's like all adventure movies, right? Like all Outriders, MMO games, and all these games. And so sometimes, like especially indies and child-friendly games get sort of hidden in that mix of things.
Yeah.
And so it's really cool to be able to have this really forefronted, because it was really, like I said, it's been all over my feed. From who I follow and out there in the open and available to everyone. That was really cool. You don't see that a lot.
Yeah. I also talk about the fact that the cooperative play, I think cooperative games, they're a little tricky to do sometimes because, they're not all the same. Like you can have cooperative experiences where you're kind of doing your own separate things together. Like, I love Streets of Rage, for example, great series. But in Streets of Rage, you're kind of, whether you're playing single player or multiplayer, it's you kind of brawling and, you're just strength in number sort of situation. Whereas like games like Overcooked or this, you like actually have to cooperate with one another, like coordinate your stuff together. And so I really appreciate that fact. Hey, Asher, Mark, Charlemagne, thanks for liking the stream. Really appreciate you there. And I love the fact that you can also, it's the way the gameplay is set up, that if somebody is not as skilled, like, when I was saying I was playing with my 6-year-old daughter, who surprisingly, she was actually incredibly good at the game. She picked it up really quickly. But if you can actually help your opponent, or your partner as well, by like shooting across the ramp, that sort of thing. So it feels like a game where cooperation is really key, but it's not necessarily, it doesn't seem like it's going to be too much of those like stressful situations where you're kind of yelling at your opponent. Some cooperative games are like relationship destroyers, right? Because it's a cooperative game, but I need you to do your part, and if you don't, we're breaking up, right? That sort of thing.
Oh yeah, you can carry somebody in this game for sure. I know I was being carried on some levels, like 100%.
Yeah, and I think that's...
I actually went to Choctaw and had Aurelia with me, and there was a VR set where you could play cooperative games together.
Yeah.
And that was the first time that we did it, and there was this game that was kind of like Overcooked, but it was called like Hungry Pirates or something like that. And it was the same thing, like we had the set on to like hand each other stuff, so it worked the same way. But I like how you mentioned that, because like it is cooperative. That was how we got to experience that as well.
Yeah.
So
I love that switching it up with that cooperative style. Hey, big shout out to Lonnie A, and again Asher, Mark, Charlemagne. Thank you guys for sharing the stream and liking it. Appreciate the love and support for sure. Awesome, folks. Well, Yeah, are there any critiques? Does anybody want to venture to try to think of something that you'd like to change? The only thing I can think of, and this is a little bit of a stretch, is the idea, hey, Mike Bierman Death Machine. Always love saying that name. Thanks so much for joining on here. Appreciate you, man. Is the only thing I would like, actually, and this might be specific to me, is like being able to see the sub-objectives, like your two secondary objectives, like on the screen. That's the only thing I could say that I would like, I guess, added to this game. Other than that,
Yeah, I can see that.
I think most people probably, like, they probably want to keep the interface really clean, focus on the core objective. I get it. You don't want to have too much stuff going on. So this is probably more like a
but
problem
if you don't
for
get
players.
the core objectives, though, the sub-objectives do help you at least excel to the next level, right? Or am I right?
I think you still have to beat the core objective to get to the next level. But the two secondary ones, they give you extra stars that help you unlock different areas, that sort of thing. So that was the only thing, like once you get to more complicated levels, and since every level has different objectives entirely, I ended up forgetting, like, oh, in this level I'm supposed to kill more of these guys than these, or I'm supposed to cast only this many spells. And so I just would forget sometimes what exactly I needed to do. So I'd find myself pausing during the game just to read what they were. But that's honestly all I can say. Once you pick it up, which is really quickly, I find that this is just a all-around enjoyable experience. And I think I'm going to play all 50 levels, honestly. I haven't fully completed it yet, but I honestly believe I'm going to be going through the whole game.
There. Hey, Dirigitive.
Hey, Dirigitive's in the chat.
Yeah, no, I'm not halfway there, but it's totally a really cool. It's a cool game to chill at, because it's not, once you get the pattern of it, once you get your rhythm, it's not it's cool. It's really cool. I loved it. Yeah, there's definitely nothing bad. Besides, I see your point about the sub-objectives though, because you're right. Having to pause would get annoying for sure.
Maybe if there was a button to be able to toggle those on or off or something.
Ooh,
I definitely see why they would decide, especially to keep it simple at first. You don't want to scare people off with all the objectives maybe at once, focus on the core one. But I wouldn't mind maybe seeing the opportunity for those to show up. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Anything else you guys want to say before we move on to the next game of the night?
No, good.
No, I definitely, it's a fun game with a variety of enemies, different elemental combinations, different type of objective levels, very cognitive driven. I definitely recommend this to anyone who's looking for a new game, to kind of, especially playing co-op with kids. I think this would be a lot of fun. So I definitely recommend this one.
For sure. And I dropped the link right there in the chat. This definitely has my highest stamp of approval. Like I said, when we go back to doing in-person events, this will be one of the first ones. And I imagine it's going to be a staple for a long time at the events. I think people are really going to dig it. Sweet. Well, let me go through that again. That was Magic Twins from Flying Beast Labs. Again, thanks to them for providing keys. And again, keep participating in the chat because one of you will win a Steam copy of this game. So definitely keep sending your questions, comments, concerns, life advice, whatever the hell you want to put in that chat. Drop it. And this, we should say, also is published from Badland Publishing. Great. So let's move on to our next game of the night. Give me 1 second here, folks, to switch it over. This is a game that you can find on itch. I'm going to check real quick and see if it has got a tag on here. I don't think it does, actually. So if you guys give me 1 second just to switch this up. This next one we're going to talk about is A Garden on the Sea. I'll flip it over here. So A Garden on the Sea tells the journey of Elliot and Lori to find a new home. Dive, explore, and tend to your garden to uncover a story of fear, of growing up and being in the middle of the ocean. A game made for the hashtag Great Spring Game Jam 2021 in 3 weeks. I will drop the link in here for everybody to check that out. We should say this game only takes about 15 minutes or so to play. So if this looks interesting to you, it is also, we should say, available name your own price on itch. So whatever you feel like paying, whether it's $0 or hopefully you can donate a little to the developers. And we should say the developer right here, Fin Truong, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, who, if you look at their other games on itch, all have this really beautiful aesthetic. So I'm looking forward to digging into their games further. So yeah, let's start it off with this one right here. A Garden on the Sea. What did you all think about this one?
Go first on this one.
Yeah, please.
I adored this one. It's very short, so it's not like it's a long game. It should take no more than about 15 minutes out of your day. But I think I really like this one because it resonated with me personally so much. So like just like a quick, telling of what it is.
Yeah.
You play as this being, and her name is Ellie, and she's on a whale named Lori, and she's like, I don't know what I'm going to really do from here, what I'm doing with my life. I don't really, I'm not really well. And she's like, but you know what? I've always had this ambition to make a garden. And the whale spends the entire game encouraging Ellie from, making a garden to nurturing it to, taking time to talk about life. The sound design of the game
Awesome.
is beautiful.
Awesome.
Like when you go down into the water, you could hear the whooshing like you're actually swimming in the ocean.
Yeah, the
and then
music
like
as
when
well.
yes, like you go and you collect the little collectibles in the water, and they make like this cute little beep noise, and so you basically you start making your garden and nurturing your tree, and that was one of the things that was like the most striking, was definitely the sound design of the game. It's so good just for that reason alone. There's no voice acting, so it's point and click with a little bit of you have to use your like directional keys to move your character. But it was so good because at the end it was like the story went on, and Ellie kind of dissects herself, like why she's not really feeling well, and she's like, I don't think that I'm ready to be loved or accept love in my life. And I was like, that's such a good they were good lines, because you don't really hear it in or see it in media a lot, not like that, not like how the game was presenting it. So I really like this one, and like I said, just for $15, and or not $15, for 15 minutes of your day, and you can donate to the game if you chose to. I thought it was a great game.
Yeah, I totally am with you. I actually ended up playing this game twice, and partly because, as you said, I think the writing was super strong, and I thought what was really cool about it was the writing was strong in a way where, let me think of how to describe this. It's like you feel like you get like a sense of understanding the situation they're in, but it's also written in a way where you could kind of you could put your own experiences on it, right? Like where they're not too specific with the issues that Ellie and Lori are describing, to where it's not relatable. I feel like it's written in such kind of a specific but broad way. I don't know. That's not. Maybe I'm not on my A game today, but you guys see what I'm saying?
Right. You're on the right path. You're on the right path.
Yeah.
The dialogue, it was just simple. That's all it was. It was just simple dialogue. It was something that's very commonly spoken about amongst people, amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
The character, or Ellie and Lori, had this sort of like symbiotic relationship. You could tell that they've obviously been together for a while, because even though that one, part of, I guess, had that self-doubt, the other one was encouraging, and then like vice versa.
Yeah.
So it gave you a sense of I guess familiarity, because a lot of us do kind of go through these instances where we're like, we don't really feel like we're good enough, we don't really know what's going on, and there's always someone like that we have, I guess, in our corner that's kind of whispering these things that we're not really hearing. It's one of those, like, you don't really take the advice, you know what I mean? But then you're like, oh, well, you come up with this idea to, well, I'm just going to plant seeds. I've always wanted to do this. Maybe if I try this, I'll feel better.
Yeah.
Maybe this, I'll use this to distract myself from what I'm going through, because right now I just don't really want to focus on it. It's really not super urgent. Let me just do this right now, to sort of, change my mind a little bit. And then, the whale's like, well, yeah, do it, like, absolutely. Why don't you go in the ocean? There's so many things that you can. There's a sea of opportunity, you know what I mean? There's a sea of nutrients. And then you go in and you see like this little mixtape, which is actually really cool. And what's nice about the ending, it's sort of open-ended, I guess you could say, because you find this mixtape, and I was really curious as to where it fit in the storyline. And then when it said, I think towards the end, she mentioned something about like having like just like a new adventure or seeing something different, or she mentioned something. I can't quite remember it, but in my mind anyway, it alluded maybe to like the tape that you caught like in the beginning, just the way that it sort of like the dialogue presented itself. And then like it was cool because you just go and like you sit, and the controls are really simple, but it was nice to have sort of like, because a lot of us do, we do have people that even though we don't think they're in our corner, they are. And so to have sort of that whale be a little, well, why don't you just try it? Let's see what happens and whatever. And then when the whale was kind of feeling, well, I don't know if I really want to, where am I going? What am I doing? Am I going to stay out here in the ocean? Like, I don't want to die. I'm just like, and then, and Ellie was sort of like, well, let's just see where this goes. And it was kind of nice because it was almost like she learned a lesson from the tree, so to speak. And she was like, well, if I can do this and this came out positive, then maybe let's just explore. Let's just see where life leads us, and we'll just kind of attempt those bumps, or, go over those hurdles as they may arise. It was really sort of simplistic in that message, I think, because it was just brilliantly made, and it looked like you were moving. Like the graphics were just so beautiful.
It gave me like a little bit of the Echo the Dolphin kind of vibe when you're in the water, like swimming around. I'm definitely wanting to hear Layla's thoughts, because I feel like this game is totally up your alley. I do want to get a couple comments real quick here in the chat, and also let you guys know that this video right here, you'll notice, is awfully short and it loops. There's actually no other videos online. If I would have known that ahead of time, I would have recorded the gameplay I did myself, but literally no other gameplay footage out there outside of, I think this was from Free Game Planet or something. So the gameplay, as you see here, you're not actually seeing too much. You're seeing a little of the swim mechanics, but there's a little bit more here. But the main gameplay is swimming in the water and collecting things, so it's fairly simple in that regard. But the dialogue, the kind of the feeling, the atmosphere that it creates with the music, and of course the graphics is really awesome. Derivative saying this game looks like my jam. Mystic Tightness saying looks relaxing, and she looks like, she says, oh yeah, she doesn't look like she knows what to do. Yeah, they did a good job of like capturing kind of like the vibe, the uncertainty kind of it all. Mystic also writing, it's interesting how animals/pets will be supportive of you no matter what you're going through. I feel you on that. Derivative saying truth. Mystic asking, what makes the tree grow? Is it based on how she's feeling as the story progresses? Good question. So what you're going to do is the whale, Lori, will tell you to go into the water, as Legend and Emmy were saying, and then you'll kind of swim around and pick up these types of nutrients that you use to kind of feed the tree. And Ellie just gets really excited to see the tree grow. And as you heard earlier, hadn't had any experience with gardening before, which I thought was really cool. Oh, she's always wanted to do it, and this is kind of her opportunity to do that. Yeah, keep those comments coming, folks. Definitely, again, we'll be giving out a Steam key for Magic Twins to somebody who participates in the chat. All right, Layla, so I know you didn't get a chance to play this one yet, but I know this is going to be something that you will go back to. Based on what we've said about it, what do you think about this?
This is definitely a game that, if ever, anyone who's a regular or is constantly on, Indie Game Club, this would know that this is definitely up my alley.
Yeah.
I love that it's the art is so. I love the art when I like how the tree illuminates at night and all that stuff. I like the small details of it. I'm sad I don't get to hear like the music because I know that is also a big part of like how I can feel a game out or like actually get the emotion or like the message of what I feel like the devs are trying to portray in it.
Yeah.
But this is definitely I feel like this game will make me think like how I like to dive into thoughts like because it is so simple, like how you're saying the dialogue's really simple, but I like to venture off into like, well, they didn't say this, but you can just kind of get that feeling that this is probably what's going on, or that this is definitely something that I'm gonna play for sure. I want to. I feel like I can relate to it, and also Emmy had also told me that this is definitely something I would relate to, as well. I love the gardening. I love the fact that she's gardening on the whale one. So it's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like a traveling island. There's so many. I can't think of what it is, but
that's exactly. Yeah, totally like a traveling island. Yeah, and it's really cool. That whole thing was just well thought.
Yeah. Yep. The tree looks like a little heart. That's cute too.
Yeah.
It does.
I think that I will definitely get feeling out of this, and my go-to reference of like something that's you don't know what you're getting into based off like just looking at the trailer of it, like Far From Noise is what that's always my go-to. You don't really know what you're getting into. I feel like this is one of those games where it looks really simple, but beautiful at the same time. But I feel like it's going to make me feel.
Yeah.
So I want to play it.
It will. It talks a lot about like your past self. You can tell that with Ellie, there's something that's sort of lingering there, but she doesn't go into too detail about it. But it's something that's definitely affected her emotionally, and she has a lot of self-doubt that you notice. And so what's nice about the tree, and she decides like to grow. It just a very unexpected surprise. It's more like the fear of the unknown.
Maybe is like the tree, like herself growing as she's on this like journey. I feel like that like would be
it's very so
message.
Great point. Great point, because that's a cool part about it is like the tree itself doesn't serve like some sort of like objective. Like we got to grow this tree to like summon the ancient gods or whatever. Nothing like that. It's just like, hey, I've clearly gone through some things that aren't fully described. I've always wanted to do gardening. Lori encourages you to do so. It definitely has that meditative quality that Far From Noise has. A bit different on the gameplay, and there's not really dialogue choices, but definitely has that feeling. Emmy, I heard you say something you wanted to talk a bit about the ending.
Going to say that even though the main focus of the game is Ellie because you play as Ellie, it's not like Lori is without her hardships as well, which Lori is the whale. And at the end, I thought it was really poignant that like throughout this whole time, it looks like I guess she's like traveling, or she's trying to figure out where they should go.
Yeah.
Because she's like, I don't want to let you down, Ellie. So she kind of internalizes her own fears because she knows Ellie is going through something right now.
Yeah.
I thought that was like really interesting to like see that, because the whole time you think Lori is just this static, self-assured I guess character in the game, and that's not necessarily true. She also is going through her own stuff. So I thought that was really cool that they added that in. Speaking of Far From Noise, I think this is like a precursor to that sort of game. Like if no one had ever played a game like this, I would suggest they play this title first and then go into Far From Noise.
Nice.
I feel you on that. I like what you said about Lori as well, with that kind of like motherly role. There's some cool like vulnerable lines she talks about where Ellie's kind of, I forgot the specific line, but Ellie kind of talks about like how confident I guess Lori is, and that they're going to find like a I guess a new home or something along those lines. And Lori's like, I have to believe, kind of for my sake, like the sense of hope in moving forward.
For like your own mental health. If I don't think positively, I'm gonna lose my shit.
Yeah, it was exactly.
I feel that.
Yeah,
definitely feel that.
That was the vibe I got.
Yeah, I love that piece there. We got a few more comments in the chat. The Kid Marley, hey Kid Marley, how are you? Saying, you are giving me some more gold. Since I have revived my page, I have more games in my arsenal. Yes, definitely check out all these games we're covering. Drop us a link too. I'd love to see you cover them. And then we got quite a few people talking about plants over here. I guess all the therapeutic feelings of
Very cathartic.
raising plants for sure.
I actually just bought an Arrow Garden, which is a hydroponic way to grow your plants. It has LED lights on top of it, so
cool.
It just makes it, and it auto feeds your plant. Like all you have to do is like it'll go off a time. You just go like put the plant food in it, and you just refill the water, and it grows your plants.
I need that. Yeah,
right.
It keeps it alive.
I need that. Yeah.
You don't have to remember to water it. It will do it for you.
I love that.
So yeah, I want a garden too. Like that's why I feel like I love. Emmy mentioned that I relate so much to this because I do like to garden. My plants do really well, and then like the minute my mental health like goes down, I forget to take care of them. So it's like that's why it's like the tree. The tree is like her growing as a person. And I like what you said about Lori the whale because like it's a great responsibility to be the grounding, someone's grounding. Like you have your own things going on and whatnot, but it's so hard to be that friend that grounds someone else who's going through so much. So it's like that person doesn't necessarily try to disregard the fact that you actually have feelings and whatnot, but they're just so overwhelmed with their own that you might feel like you can't bring those up to them because you're what brings them peace and calm.
Yeah.
Are you sure you didn't play this game, Layla? I feel like your analysis is like better and deeper than mine. I played it twice. I totally that part about the grounding and being like and kind of holding Ellie on your back, sort of that Lori holds Ellie on her back is
physically really doing
Yeah.
That's a really good point. I like that a lot. Yeah, more comments here in the chat about plants. Hey, Darts of Bulba, how are you? Saying, I know that feeling. I have a plant that is almost like a pet to me. It changed my mood just giving it attention. Yeah, Mystic growing a garden on her balcony. Saying, tip, snake plants are like a natural air purifier. Ooh, okay. We got Indie Game Club / gardening show. We're getting some good.
I send her a lot of plant stuff on Instagram. Like I'll see I don't know how it popped up on mine, but then I do the same thing to like I'll see.
I love all of your messages. I'm so happy every time I see that you send me something. I was like, oh, this is gonna be good.
That stuff.
I feel like all the Athena Lens members, you guys are so supportive of each other. I see like your social media. It's all like vision board stuff and like sharing. I love it.
We have no beef with one another. Like everything's so cool and calm. Like it's so cool. Like it's so refreshing because women have beef all the time about stupid shit all the time. We're so dramatic, and it's nice to be in a spot where like you can just be like, "Yo, I'm having a crap day," and everyone's like, "Mood."
Right.
It is definitely a safe place. I definitely love them so much. Just there's no drama. There's nothing. It's just constant support of each other.
Yeah.
And like no judgment. And no like stress to like be like, there's just no stress. Everyone does their own shit, and then we all like get together and do things together. Nobody's like holding anything, at that too. I just love it. I love y'all. Y'all have kept me so good mentally.
I love it.
Since I've joined. So I love you guys. And you guys know that. I tell you guys that all the time. I'll get in my feelings.
Yeah, we all love each other. It's so nice.
This warms my heart right here. Derivative saying IGC a no beef zone. I love that as well.
Right.
all positive energy here for sure. Awesome. Well, any other thoughts about A Garden on the Sea before we move to our third game of the night?
You can also play it through the browser. I don't know if you mentioned that. You don't have to download the game. You can actually
I played it through the browser.
Yeah, I did too. I played it through the browser.
That's a nice thing to do on itch.
Lunch. I was like, yo, I got 15 minutes. Let me do this real quick. It was good.
Yeah, I love their like the WebGL builds in itch. It's just so easy to like try something out briefly.
Keys were so easy. Like it was just simple README file. Tony would have like dug it too.
Was there a README file?
Well, no,
Okay.
it wasn't. But like,
I
it
was gonna
told
say,
you how to
Tony-
play it at least. Like, you know, and
Yeah.
he likes that. He likes it when it tells you how to. Do I need a controller? Do I need a keyboard?
Yeah,
Like-
exactly.
That reminds
Exactly.
me of Tony.
Shout
Let me
out to Tony.
Read me files.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tony, for those longtime watcher, Tony hasn't been on a little while. He got a new job, and it's been really busy for him. So we're super excited for him. Things are going really well. Definitely, we'll be having him again on in the future, but right now he's got to focus a bit on that. Sweet. So let me read a couple more comments before, or at least look at them. We're going really deep here. I just looked over here and Mystic is saying, I love the smell of mint. So I'm wondering what we're talking about here. Yeah, they're having all sorts of discussions on mint plants, everything. Shout out to everybody in the chat for sharing. Look how positive the chat is. Everybody's sharing like plant advice with one another. This is beautiful.
In this room, I think it'd really brighten the place up. Like, feel just brighter.
Yeah.
I got that description.
I need to bring some more plants in here. I love plants, but I don't have enough in here. I got to do that. And then we got several people saying congrats to Tony, Mystic Tightness, and Mike Bierman, Death Machine. We'll clap it up for Tony. Super excited for him. He might be watching right now. He actually sent me a message that he probably would be. So super excited for him, and sad that Derivative wasn't able to join us. I know he had a work thing, but super glad that he can join us in the chat for sure. Awesome. So everybody, that was A Garden on the Sea by Fin Trong. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. The game was just released 11 days ago and was updated 2 days ago. So make sure to check it out. In fact, I'm going to drop that link in the chat one more time. Definitely click on it. As Emmy said, it's only 15 minutes, so it's well worth it for sure. Cool. So the next game we are going to be looking at is actually called EDDA Café. I thought it was EDDA Café, but in the game there's a little bit of audio, and they pronounce it EDDA Café. So let me drop this right here, and let me see if it's got some. Let me see if it's got a tag. Yeah, it does. Sweet. Okay, sorry. Give me 1 second, folks, to update the tag on here. All right, so I'm going to read
Have you
this.
thought about using the restream to Glimish?
Maybe I need to do that. I need to get on the Glimish train, join the cool kids.
Try it out.
I'm always so
Test it.
late to everything. I know Layla talks about Snapchat. I've never had a Snapchat before. I'm behind on.
When Snapchat first came out, because I'm that old, I'm probably older than you.
I don't know.
When Snapchat first came out, that's all it was about, was just, nudies.
Yeah, that's what I thought, right?
And then now people are using it more for like community. Like, people use it to just send all their friends like photos all at once, because it's a lot easier that way, and then you're able to sort of
send
like,
nudes to a
simplify
mass group.
Yeah, accidentally send it to all your friends, some like shower pic or something. But like, guess that. But yeah, it seems like people are now using it for more like interactions and stuff. Because I don't know if I'd be comfortable with that, to be honest. Only because I know where it's from, why it was made, and so it's like, But
Yeah, I'm
cool kids are using it
curious.
now.
Anybody who other Snapchat users in the chat, let us know. All right, Layla, you coming through with a Snapchat defense?
I love Snapchat. I swear, you want to see me do the most random. My Snapchat and my Instagram is so random, because it's like there's positive stuff over here, then I'm doing ratchet stuff over here, and then I'm like have this uplifting like quotes, and then you'll see me like taking a bath like with my little like flowers and all that, my candles and everything. It's just me random. It's so random, and I love that I can do that, and I love that it goes away after 24 hours.
Yeah, it all disappears, right? That's the whole idea.
Yeah.
Well, and what's
technically,
funny
it
too is you can
disappears.
actually see someone take a screenshot, so you know if someone's done it. And I
Yes.
think you can access it, or like you can prevent people from doing that, or something like that. I think.
You can see when people take the screenshots. You can see when people save stuff to their camera roll. Like, it's very like, when people are doing stuff.
Yeah, there's no secrets at least from that. So you're just like, yo, what you doing?
Yeah, it's like, why'd you do that? what are you taking a screenshot for?
Gotcha.
I'm just like, what was that about? And they're just like, oh, there's an accident. I'm like, I'm sure.
Okay. Whoops.
I'm gonna
I
have.
forgot.
I'll have to start looking at all this. Yeah, I'm bad about social media, honestly. If it isn't just for posting potions and pixel stuff, I gotta like occasionally remind myself to post something.
I'm still getting scheduled tweets are your friend. Let me tell you.
That's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea for sure.
I'm bad with
Yeah,
Twitter.
I'm
I'm so horrible with Twitter.
It's hard
That's
to
the
keep
only
up
thing
with
I
it all.
keep up with. Everything else is so crazy. So EDDA Café.
EDDA Café. So super
Okay.
excited because Mad Scientist 92 in the Twitch chat is one of the creators. Super excited. Let's clap it up. Always love when devs join us. He says, I'm one of the creator. I'm sure all of our members are excited, but it's like 6 a.m. in the morning in my time zone, and probably the others are sleeping. LOL. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate the commitment. That's always... we tend to feature a lot of games from folks who are like distant time zones away, so we appreciate the love and showing up on here. We're super excited to discuss your game. So EDDA Café, let me hit you all with a story right here. Have you ever heard a myth about cafes that turn back time? I no longer care about anything after what happened 2 years ago. I made a mistake, and now I lost the most important person in my life. I don't think I deserve anything. I'm simply disgusted with myself. Guilt, regret, and loss. They will haunt me for eternity. Even the gift I have for him is meaningless now. Mina is a shy girl who lost her dearest one. Guilt, regret, and sadness haunt her after that accident, causing her to blame herself. 2 years has passed, and she's still trapped in her past. 2 days before Valentine's Day, she meets Taku, a waiter who introduced her to a cafe named EDDA. Dragged by her little curiosity and her friend's compulsion, she finds out that through magic in that cafe, she was given a second chance. Will it save her heart? Will she move forward or stay in the past? And when the coffee starts to drip, the magic begins. So this is a visual novel game, and I'm going to drop the link in the chat for everybody if I didn't before. We play a lot of visual novels here on the show. I'll go ahead and start on this one. I really enjoyed it. I wish it was longer, and that's, I think, a great thing to say about a game that is going to be continued to be developed. I want more. There's a lot of cool stuff in this game, and I'm very intrigued by the premise. But as you hear with that premise about when the magic happens, that's kind of where the game actually hits you with a to be continued screen. So I'm very curious about where they're going to take this game, because they did a great job, as you can see, with the art style, the characters. I would like to also know from Mad Scientist 92, I'm curious about like the gameplay elements you all are going to be adding, if there is an option to kind of do more choices in the dialogue, or where you all are going in that direction. But as we wait for them to respond, what did you all think about this game?
The art style, I thought it was really pretty. It had sort of like this watercolor aesthetic, which was neat.
Yeah.
I don't think that was digital. I don't know what, but it was gorgeous. I absolutely thought it was cute. And I was a little confused at first, I guess, with how she was. I thought it was more of her storytelling at first, but then I realized it was more just her sort of just talking in her head out loud for most of the story, which was really cool once I got the hang of that. For me personally, I think it was a little too much dialogue. I don't play visual novels very often. I thought maybe the storyline could have possibly been told in a more concise way. But overall, I think the English translation was very well done. There wasn't really any grammatical errors or anything like that I could find or that I noticed. I liked the way that it was sort of like, it reminded me a little bit of like Doctor Who, right? Like the TARDIS was like a live thing. So it was like the cafe was like alive and was sort of just helping you sort of not really changing anything in your past, but more just sort of I guess reliving a feeling or a moment more so. But because he does warn you, like, yo, if you do something there, people here won't remember you at all.
If you don't come back, right? Like if you...
Yeah, if you don't come back. Yeah, if you choose to stay, and take that, whatever, and live that life, then, no.
Yeah, what did you all think about that? I wish I had that in front of me again to read those lines, because I'm curious if that meant, like, if you travel back in time, you may get so attached to, like, a memory or a feeling, or want to hold on to somebody before, in this case, they die, that you kind of get stuck in the past sort of situation. But but they said, yeah, you'll kind of be erased
Yeah.
from history if you get like stuck in that moment.
I think with Mina, that's going to be really complicated for her because it sounds like she really feels regret in the moment that she had with whomever it was that had passed away. It implies maybe that it was like either someone that she was in love with or maybe like a deep friendship, but there's definitely a moment that she wished never had happened. And so I'm kind of interested to see if she decides when she does go back, if she's hit with that moment again, what if one of your choices is going to be whether or not you do decide to stay and let the world forget you because you're able to just fix a past mistake, so to speak, or sort of like fix a moment of regret. And I'm really excited about that part. I would have to honestly say that the way that the storyline was written, especially, it really gave you sort of like a like at the end,
Yeah.
and that was my favorite part. I think of the whole thing was just the way that she was really descriptive in the storytelling. Again, like for me personally, like I said, it was a little too much, but that's just me. That's just my thing. But I just loved just the appeal of it. It was really cool because it really made you wonder, like. Because I know there's some things that if I could go back, I would probably, So it was interesting to see how the story's going to play out from here on out, for sure.
Yeah, and we should say that there's a third part that's going to be added to this game. Thanks, Mad Scientist 92, for dropping some info in the chat, saying we plan to release the rest of the story in April. And also saying we would add one choice in the third part. There's a little gameplay because it's a visual novel. You basically just advance through the text and make a choice later. I'm curious what that choice is. I'm assuming those are kind of those major choices about whether you kind of want to stay, like how much I guess you want to kind of go into the past. Because the magic, we don't fully know what's going to happen next. I guess we're assuming that after this kind of magical process, you're going to be taken back in time, and we'll learn a lot more about what happened and what the regrets are that Mina is dealing with. And we also get some hints that the EDDA is like kind of, there were some discussions like EDDA might be like an entity of sorts, kind of looking after.
I think so. That's what Mina thinks. That's what I think. It, like I said, it totally reminded me of the whole TARDIS situation because the TARDIS is alive. Like if you know Doctor Who.
I don't know Doctor Who, unfortunately, so you guys are gonna have to fill me in.
Oh my gosh, that's why I made the reference. I just assumed it. My bad.
I know. I need
to.
I
don't know like the whole Doctor Who. Like there's like so many of them now, but like from the actual Doctor Who, the TARDIS is like a living entity. He talks to it like a person. She has feelings. He refers to the TARDIS as a woman for the most part, but she just sort of responds. They have this symbiotic relationship. She disappear, like it's really cool. Like you can totally tell, like it seems like it's alive, and that was the sense that I got from EDDA's Cafe, was that she was an entity, and the people that she meets, it's one of those like those movies, where you're like, you magically bump into something, you're going through a life struggle, and this just happens to be here that could, help you out. And so because this dude bumps into her, and she doesn't know who it is, and then all of a sudden, guy appears, a waiter. Her poor little bracelet's broken, and she's all like that, and dude doesn't even apologize, but then again, it's like you don't really know if it's him, but and then like you kind of lead yourself down, I hear a bell, and where's this cafe? I don't know where the address is, because she wasn't gonna go. Like she waited a couple of days, and her friend comes in and was like, yo, let's go do something you never want to, and she's like, shh, stop it, calm down. And then okay, and then then the pamphlet falls out kind of mysteriously, or the friend it's Rin, right?
Yeah,
Rin notices it.
That's right.
And then Rin's like, let's go, and they try to find it. They couldn't find it, but then Mina suddenly hears like this bell, and they're like, oh, so that's where this cafe, and they go, and then the whole like, and then the titles are weird too. It's like Unrequited Love, and so it's like everyone who's gone into the cafe has been chosen, kind of, I guess. And whatever EDDA is sort of surpassing from that moment, or what that person is feeling, is just the drink that appears, and then you chose it basically as your beverage, and then you go down your path.
It's a cool like kind of I normally don't kind of delve deeply into kind of, I guess, like romance, like magic sort of kind of areas of art like this, but I like the concept where there's like a little bit of this magic fantasy element to it that kind of takes this the story. I guess I don't know if I should even call it romance, but I'm assuming that it is essentially this connection to this loved one who's no longer there, and kind of going back to that. Darth Sebulba, to your point, Legend, Darth Sebulba saying the TARDIS made sure the Doctor went where he needed to, not necessarily where he wanted to. Which I think
got you.
That's a cool point.
But I think that's probably the same sense.
I think you're right. I think it's exactly in support of what you're saying, because EDDA is kind of looking out for people, and it seems seemingly so far in that way.
That's definitely, that clears it up. I didn't know that. I thought it was I didn't know it just took him like. It had a purpose, basically. Yeah. I didn't know that.
I think it's very fascinating. Emmy, Layla, what do you all think about EDDA Café?
I did love the art style, the tone of the game. There were times where it was very like sweet and wholesome, and then all of a sudden there would be a shift, and it kind of felt like a little Twilight Zone to me. I don't know if anyone else had those moments.
Do you think that was purposeful?
Oh, absolutely. Like,
yeah.
I like it, but there would be like these shifts, and I'm like, man, why is the mood so different? You know, they did a great job with utilizing the soundtrack for that, like to represent that kind of change.
Yeah.
But it's definitely more story driven. You know, it's definitely a I don't know, it leaves you wanting more.
Yeah.
But I kind of wonder what that more will be. And you know, if they are going to continue it, you know, how that continuation is going to be. I don't know if you needed to play this title like as it is more than one time to kind of get the gist of the story, so I will say that,
because it's more linear in that way, right?
Exactly. Like, you know, in terms of the voice cast, some of the voice acting was like pretty good. Some of it felt a little stilted, like a little bit like there was no like voice inflection in some of them. So I don't know like how fully developed this one was in that.
I think just to add to that, Emmy, I don't know exactly where. It seems like that this may not be native speakers doing this, right? Am I correct in that?
I didn't think so. That wasn't the vibe that I got. That wasn't just the way that the words. I get the wording was. It didn't seem like whoever had translated it. This game was in English to begin with.
Yeah, I'm curious about that.
It seemed to me like the whoever translated it also, maybe English wasn't their first language, as well, possibly, but had the ability to translate in English, because some of it just a little off. But then also, you know, and especially in Asian cultures or just in any language, there isn't an exact like word for like there is an exact translation in English. So I could tell how I can see how that can be a little difficult.
Yeah, I was curious about that, because it felt like everything we should say, like it overall, like is really solid in that regard. But totally with some of the voice acting, to your point, Emmy, like I thought that might be one of the reasons for that. It's and so actually, Mad Scientist 92 saying about the voice acting. Yes, Mina's voice is not a native speaker. Okay, I'm curious if. Yeah, I'm curious, Mad Scientist, if you can like fill in on that. I'd be curious. Like if your team, like where you all are located, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, Emmy, sorry to interrupt you though. You want to keep going?
I did like it. I just liked that there was something more underlying underneath it, but it's definitely not something that I would say I would play several times. So the replayability of it's pretty much like once you kind of go through the story, that's pretty much it. I'm interested to see if they have anything else coming down the pipeline, like in addition to it, because there is definitely a story there.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I like to your point there. I think like the linearity of it is fine for like a one playthrough sort of things. I think, oftentimes like we've played a lot of Angela He like visual novels, and like those, I think one of the biggest parts of those is like making different choices to get to different endings and seeing how your choices have effects. To Mad Scientist and his team's approach, like I think it sounds like they're trying to tell a very specific story, and so to what you're saying, I mean, I feel like I feel like they would respect and appreciate that as well. Like one memorable experience that you have with this all seems good. We should say that they are from Indonesia, which is that's awesome. Very very cool to hear about that. Hence the major time difference there. That is really cool. I'm curious, Mad Scientist, like your choice in kind of art style, releasing English. I assume that's to kind of reach a wider audience, that sort of thing. Yeah, very very curious to hear more. Layla, so I know you didn't get a chance to try this one yet, but what do you think? Is this something? I think this one's up your alley. How do you feel about it?
Yep. This one I was afraid to play. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, why so?
It connects with me so deeply. As I tell y'all, that my best friend passed away a couple years ago, and so like even when we were talking about what game was it that we played where you run into the ghosts and you have to make the decision to like get rid of them or not.
Atoll, the last ghost. Yep.
Yes, you had made a comment saying like, well, what if like so they're staying because you haven't let go yet. And I remember that because it like hit me so hard. I was like, ooh, that hurts.
Yeah.
So like this whole game, I'm definitely like, I'm gonna play it for sure. I actually had booted this up to see gameplay earlier when I was trying to figure out my situation with my computer. But definitely know that this is gonna make me feel a lot of things. So that's why I would say I was afraid to play it. But that's what I'm about, diving deep into your demons and self-exploration, figuring out your trauma and like facing your trauma head on. So this game would be that for me. But I like that. I like what you guys have said about it and how you're pretty much reliving like the things in the cafe. So I am excited to play it. I'm in a way where I'm just like, I know this is going to be good for me mentally to play for sure. So I'm definitely excited about it, and I will definitely be playing. I want to stream it, so whenever my power supply comes in, I'm going to replay all of these games. But this is the one that I know is going to hit me the hardest. For sure.
Maybe wait till April when the full, or sometime in April, I guess it's April now, but whenever they release the third part as well, because then you can have some sort of closure to the game experience. I'm curious.
Right.
I'm curious, Mad Scientist 92. I know you don't want to spoil things, so I respect and appreciate that for sure, but I'm curious if you could like let us know maybe how big the third section is in some ways, because I'm curious how far we're going to delve down into Mina's background and kind of like you said, like it sounds like some sort of major choice that you'll be making there. Mad Scientist also saying I'm mainly the programmer, scripter, and PR sort of. The writer and the project leader might have another things in mind about EDDA Café universe. Yeah, I think you guys have done a really cool job creating like a beautiful environment with some really fleshed out characters, and I will say, back to what I was saying earlier as far as like the genre, I know you guys have it categorized as slice of life, fantasy, and romance, so I definitely feel the fantasy romance element to it. And I see Derivative in the chat saying I'm very okay with a linear visual novel. I was going to say if Derivative was on here, he would be kind of the defender of that approach, that
Yes.
kind of if in this case the artist wants to tell a very specific story, then let those artists tell that very specific story and have the gamer along for the ride. I know that's something we've often discussed on Indie Game Club, how much visual novels, I think the element of choice is something that's somewhat controversial, and people kind of fall on different parts of the spectrum there. Yeah, I'm looking forward to part 3. I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am too. I am too. Like I said, it was a little too. I found myself. I have to be honest. Like I found myself clicking a lot because the dialogue was just really long. But then understanding the fact that it's translated and it's just sometimes it's, especially in Asian languages, it's shorter than what it is like in English when they do translate it. It was a little too wordy, but in linear visual novels like this I don't play often. I guess I'm the type that just kind of likes the idea of having like the multiple choices and the being able to have like to go back and like I'll do this instead this time and see what happens, that type of thing. And I can see maybe like the third chapter probably doing that. Again, I'm just totally assuming what's going on just by how it left off, but I'm excited to see what happens next. I'm really interested, like, to see where the story's going to go, for sure.
Yeah, and then
what are you going to do, Mina?
Yeah, exactly. And just getting bigger background into this traumatic experience, like what exactly happened there, because there's a lot of setup for that. She has
such regret, and you just feel so bad for her. Like, you feel for her, like, oh my gosh, like, and we've all had those moments where, thinking back, I would have changed it, would it have, but then it's like, would I be on a completely different path? Like, would I be where I'm at now if I had made that choice? Like, everything sort of happens for a reason. I think this is a good take on the what if part, and seeing what I guess if you had a chance to maybe say something to someone, maybe. And I think
that's such a cool idea to explore.
I'm really intrigued and interested to see what happens.
Yeah, and with the waiter, with Taku kind of giving that warning about, potentially being kind of erased from existence or in people's lives by, I guess, like sticking,
which I get, because if you're going down a completely different path, your destiny is going to change. And so the people that are in your life currently are not going to be in your life currently.
It's super intriguing. So
you have to make that choice. Right. Is that, do you want to do that? Do you want to let go of everyone that you know now just because you have a chance to live this life, or and I'm excited to see how that plays out.
Yeah, it's gotten to like it really, it's like that cliffhanger. You watch a show and some big stuff happens and you're just like, I can't wait to see what's next.
Yeah, and because it was so wordy, I was so afraid that I would just be like, and not like this game. That was like the only thing that like I didn't like, was the fact that I thought that it was too wordy. But I was so afraid getting close to the end, because you kind of saw the ending coming, sort of. And I was like, oh, please don't disappoint me. Please don't disappoint me. And it did not. I was surprised that it did not disappoint me. For me to even be like, like, I wonder. And I don't do that often with games that are like this. So I'm super excited. Maybe not super excited, that would be a lie, but I'm definitely intrigued and interested to see what happens next. So I do see myself playing this again to at least see that part of it, to complete the game.
Yeah, no, awesome. I appreciate that. We got a couple more things. Mad Scientist saying part 3 is like twice as long as parts 1 and 2 combined. Wow, that sounds like we'll get some more information into the backgrounds of everything and the choices.
And honestly, Mad Scientist, that's just to me personally. I don't do a lot of visual novels on my channel because it's a lot of narrative reading that you have to do. Like it's kind of something that as a content creator, it's a difficult decision to make because it's so much reading.
I agree. I normally don't either.
Really, it's just my voice by the end of it. Like I read, like I went through like 2 visual novels in a week, and my voice had it. Like I was done.
Yeah, I couldn't. I feel like I can't do it justice. And then there's people like Emmy
I try to get into it, like with the voices and stuff. Like sometimes, like I start very monotone, and then I find myself kind of getting into it.
Yeah.
So for me as a content creator, it's a lot of reading. But for someone to play this offline and not stream it, the dialogue is fine. It really is. It's completely understandable that with translations, sometimes the story just gets a little bit more wordy than what you intend it to be. But as an offline game for people to play this in their spare time that aren't streamers, I think this game is perfect. It's just as a content creator, it was just a little too much reading for me.
Yeah, I think we're in the same boat as that, but definitely I know Layla loves streaming visual novels, and Emmy's got Emmy, your voice reminds me, anytime I watch your streams when you're playing visual novels or anything, you have that, do you remember when we were young, the teacher would read a storybook and hold it out and really have that peaceful... It's like that really peaceful, like soothing vibe where you're just sitting there, like listening to it. And Emmy's got that voice.
Because I used to do that.
Really?
I interned at like quite a few like children's schools and helped with after school programs
That
when I
explains
was
it.
like in high school and college. So I actually used to do that.
That totally
I need
explains
to
it.
take lessons from you then, because I don't like my daughter. Like she's like her teachers all the time are like, yeah, when she reads stuff, she's so like, and I hear her too, like she's really like voices and she's so expressive, and I'm just like, yeah, so the coffee drink. Like,
Yeah, and then I'll like make mistakes like while I'm reading, like I won't be able to like see things correctly, and I'm like, what the, and then they're just like,
yeah.
and I'm reading for like some cute girl character, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I'd like to.
Dude, I'm just like, should I like do something? I try to kind of like whatever, and it's like,
Yeah.
why? And then I can like hear myself in my head reading this out loud, and I'm thinking like, why are you doing this? Legend, stop.
Yeah,
It's too late. Like
I
it's already
definitely
coming out.
I like the way that Emmy does her visual novels for sure.
I know
For
you gotta
me,
do that, yeah.
I switch back and forth between like I can get real deep into some stuff, like into the meaning and stuff, but I'm also very goofy. So if you are trying to actually like hear, there's no like dialogue or like the characters aren't talking and I have to read it out to y'all, be prepared for all the jokes because I'm goofy, but at the same time I still get like try to get the message across. So
Right.
Well, people like watching y'all, and I see like for you guys, you know, when you guys do like visual novel stuff, your view counts probably increase. When like I do it, it's just like.
Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes, but like my community's been around for a while. You know,
Yeah.
like they've seen me sort of like kind of hit the path that I'm at now. A lot of them have just been like with me on this journey, so that's I think where that comes up. But I honestly find that streaming in games and demos, surprisingly enough, especially as indie content creators, not necessarily doing it in their title, has been a bonus because sometimes you were like, oh, what's this? You just put like the title in your whatever. It's like if I can't think of like clickbait, you know, that's all I do. I just do the title sometimes, and I just go in games and demos, and that helps. But yeah, visual novels, man, they're tricky. I definitely commend those streamers that's all that they do are visual novel type games because man, that reading, I'm like, okay, let's start over. You know, and then you lose kind of like the momentum a little bit. It's tricky. Like,
To be honest, the other factor is like for these experiences, especially, you know, a lot of visual novels tend to be more on the kind of emotional side of things. I think I dare say like almost everyone that we've played on this show has been. And sometimes I don't know if I want to do that like in front of an audience. I've talked to you guys about this before. Like I kind of feel like sometimes like I'm in an aquarium of sorts. And so, you know, you don't really have an opportunity to kind of react like, at least for me, I feel like a lot of other people, I feel like you guys are like your authentic selves on the screen, and I kind of try to be to an extent, but you know what I mean? It's still like...
Well, no, you're totally your authentic self, but I think a lot of it has to do, and I hate to say it, but like just being a male in general.
I totally think that's the case. Yeah.
You know, it's hard to really express your emotions. Like I've read visual novels sometimes, or even just played a video game where I'm just like, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, you know, and it's you know, it's kind of awkward at first, but then you're just like, I'm just gonna, you know, just live my authentic life and just because sometimes you just can't help it. You just get so caught up in the moment, and it's a little embarrassing sometimes.
It's hard being such a manly man over here.
Yeah, being that cis.
It's hard.
Cis beef guy. Have that tough exterior. You know, that hard
I'm extremely raw with my videos. I have no shame and I don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
That's a good approach.
Who are you?
I'm almost getting there. I think sometimes too, like feeling like sensitive situations make me feel a little awkward sometimes because I am that person that you can confide in, but sometimes it's like I don't know how to really console you. You know, if I'm not physically there, I don't know how to do that like internetly without doing like the typical like, you know, oh, you know, the positive things I think that most people want to say because that's just, you know, what you do. And so I think for me it gets a little, I get nervous and sometimes I start giggling a little bit and it's like, why, Legend? Someone died. Like, why are you laughing? You know?
Yeah.
So it's hard to just, it's hard to do that. It's different. It's different. Like Layla, for being that because I can't. I try. I'm getting better at it. I think now that I'm sort of becoming more of myself, I guess. But
Yeah.
it's hard to like, yeah.
I
feel
will
you,
say
Mike.
that is a big part of it. Like I've done a lot of self-search and a lot of like battling myself and doing like shadow work with myself and all that stuff. So being open and raw, I wasn't always like that. I'm gonna tell you 100%. I used to be very like insecure and like just shut off to like telling people about how I feel and whatnot. I definitely used to be like that. But the more that you accept yourself and your flaws and everything and do all that deep diving that I show, like when I have so much passion about talking about mental health and everything, it's because I've been doing that work. So it's like at the end of the day, this is me. My people will see me for me, and people who are not for me don't need to, like they're I'm just not their person.
Yeah.
You know. So and I've embraced that. I like that. It took me a long time, and it took me going through a lot of things to be that way and just like, well, this is me, and I'm working on things that I feel like I need to work on, but like I'm gonna do that and be myself because it's too much extra to be anything other than me. So it's too much to like hide me from the world. And some people look down on that, but I'm confident in my flaws and who I am as a person, so I'm gonna portray that. Too much work to be anything other than that.
Yeah, and I think that has a lot to do with this business just in general as a content creator. You know, it's like you want to be your authentic self, but then there's, you know, some people that are a bit too, like, it's hard to find that balance, I think.
Yes.
I'm the same way as you are now. Like, it took me a long time to get to the point, especially with my stuff. Like, if you don't like the game that I'm playing, just freaking move on, you know? If I just have a few people in my chat, that's fine. I'm playing games that I like, that I enjoy. If you don't like it, that's cool with me. You know, I don't mind it, you know? And it was hard to do that, you know, to just do me, you know, and as a female content creators, or any like female, male, however, whomever you identify as, it's just hard to sort of not be in that mold, you know, that expectation that people sort of clump you in.
But it's kind of hard because people like see, like for me, when I think of like my authentic self, I feel like it's an amalgamation of like extremes all in different directions, right? And it's like you can't like fully portray that, or not portray, but it's like, you know, in some cases, I guess Layla, you can, like you rage and emotion, like all this. For me, I can't. I don't know. I feel like I have to be a certain way
with yourself to do that. You know, it's a total process. Like you when you start off in stuff, and even when you've been in there for like a while, I've been doing this off and on since 2015. You know what I mean? And I've just now within like the last year and a half, I would have to say, I've just really been more confident in what I'm doing my thing. You know,
have you gone back, Legend, and looked at any of the old footage from like 2015 and just seen how much you changed?
Oh my god!
Oh, you should.
I've changed so much.
Great.
It's cool to see the growth, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing to see the growth, and it's funny because a lot of people, you know, stress so much about the numbers, and a lot of it is a number game. But as long as you have that personal growth within your content and you have that sort of success within your path, then doors just sort of kind of open. You see more ways to just sort of, I guess, like expand your venue, you know?
Yeah.
So I think your people will find you.
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
Like that's what it really is. It's like however you are with yourself, like however your people are gonna find you. Your path is gonna find you. Like you're gonna, like, what is made for you and what is set for you, and the people who are supposed to be around you will find you, like just by you being yourself. So
that's
like
a good point. Yeah,
there are analytics that go into it. Like you guys know that I only do certain things on my channel because of analytics and stuff like that, but I'm still able to like the balance is really hard to find. But like the more that you are just you and find that balance, your people and all your opportunities, everything will find you because you're on the path that you're supposed to be on. You know, it's like everything's.
And it's just happier that way to like not have to like play a role or a character for like views. It's
I've
just
done that. I've played a role and it's freaking exhausting. Like it's exhausting just in general doing this stuff what we do because we have to, you know, just be on and up, you know. If I yawn during my stream, I don't really excuse myself. Like I'm tired. I'm an adult, you know. I'm tired. You know? But it's yeah,
That's a
you
good
see
point, yeah.
people. I've played that role, and it's so mentally taxing on you having to betray someone that you're not, to be like this, and I don't hate anyone's hustle.
Sure.
Yo, as long as you don't mess with my hustle, I'm good with your hustle, and you're not breaking TOS, and you hustle on, baby. Like, I'm cool with that.
Get it.
If you don't break TOS, you're not whatever. It's not your job to police my children. It's my job to police my children. So I totally see whole rounds of that conversation going on right now on Twitch.
Yeah.
But like, dude, you do you. Yes, there's other sites that you could probably do that on, but like, as long as you're not interfering with I've got, then I respect you for that,
Yeah, no, I feel you.
We're all on equal ground. We're all trying to make our money. We're all trying to make our way through this crazy ass field, and it's nice that there's more streaming services that are opening up, I feel. So it's not as like Twitch inclusive, because Twitch has its own scene, man. And if you've been in this business long enough, you can spot a faker like nobody's business. You know what I mean? So it's just, and those connections that you make will it shows. Like, people see that, even though you think people aren't looking, they're looking.
Yeah. And who people work with, like, I feel like all of us,
like you, Layla, Emmy, all of us, like, they may not come to our streams, but they've heard our names. Like, they know about us. Like, I can honestly say that with my mutuals and stuff, like, I know people that are in this industry that know that I don't clout chase because I know people in this industry. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's more important, I think, to have that established than worrying too much about who's coming and who's going with your numbers in your channel.
That's a great point.
If you make a name for yourself in this business, they'll come to you, they'll respect you, and you're gonna definitely get more opportunities in the long run.
And I think it's a testament also to like the viewers right now who are watching live or in the future, the fact that they kind of want this content. I'm always impressed because I know our content generally is quite niche to begin with, right? Like these types of deeper dives into smaller niche games is I mean, honestly, most people are out playing on Twitch, probably playing Call of Duty or Madden right now, right? And no, again, not a knock on them. Outriders, sure. Yeah, like not a knock on them, cool games and whatnot, but it's like, we want to highlight a lot of these more personal experiences, and we really really appreciate the fact that everybody in the audience enjoys that and these deeper conversations.
There wouldn't be an Outriders if there wasn't games like Defiance, that's an indie game. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many AAA games that wouldn't be out here now that are based off of indie games.
Yeah.
And it like, all of our realms are just the same. It all intermingles with one another.
Yeah, for sure.
And us doing this is so important. Like, the Indie World Order doing their digital convention right now on Steam, that being highlighted by Steam, indies being highlighted by Steam, like, this whole like last end of the March just in general has just been popping for indies. I think. I mean, this pandemic has sucked, but as far as the gaming industry and indies are concerned, I think indies have really stepped up and are being noticed more, and that's been really, really cool.
Yeah, no, I totally feel you. We got some awesome folks in the chat. Dartsabul was saying, I count myself lucky that I have been able to watch Indie Game Club streams. That warms my heart. Thanks, Dartsabul. Appreciate you, my friend. I appreciate you being a part of this community and always contributing. Mike Bierman Death Machine saying, work hard and the grind will be worth it. Also, Mike is saying, I've seen Legend grow throughout her streaming career. Mystic also agreeing to your points and 100% Legend. Mike also saying, with visual novels, sometimes the streamer becomes immersed in the stories and gets emotional. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, I think that's the cool part too. I think it's like, streaming, that's like, it reminds me of that experience when like I used to play games with like my older brother, and it wasn't just like I would be sitting on the side like watching him play sort of thing, and even if I wasn't playing, like the act of like the social experience and sort of thing is definitely really cool. So I can see like the attachment there. Mad Scientist, again, one of the developers on EDDA Café, saying, interesting story. This is our first visual novel and made for a jam, so it's really unexpected to see heartwarming reaction. Love it. Yeah, we're so excited that you made this and really enjoyed it, and can't wait to see where you all go next with your career. If 92 is your birth year, which I'm assuming it is, then you're just getting started, my friend, and can't wait to see all the amazing games that you all and your whole team in Indonesia will be working on. Let's see. We got a few more things. Oh, Tony saying, miss you guys. Truly do. Listening whenever I get off work. Shout out to Tony. Tony, I don't know if you were here earlier on when we were talking about you, but we miss you and Derivative greatly. And
Xavier is also saying hi.
Oh, well. Sweet. Hey, Xavier, how are you?
You said it with Tony.
Awesome, awesome. Love it.
I will respond to the chat, but I can't right now. I've been wanting to so bad.
Yeah.
I love all of y'all. Just know I would respond.
We appreciate you being able to. As we said at the top of the show, Layla's computer is not working right now, so she's on, I guess, dialing in. I don't know what the term is. Dialing in on her phone. My archaic language here.
It's because you're old.
I know. God, don't remind me. Mad Scientist also saying, we realize that English is not our first language, but we will do our best to correct that at our next release. I honestly think you guys nailed that part. I can't imagine, how difficult it is working primarily in a different language. Obviously, your English is great in the chat and in the game itself.
Right.
There's always little
I
subtleties.
I think that we were taking away from the actual experience of the game for those points. They're just really the only points that I feel like were needed to, like, that the negatives or quote unquote.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a streamer thing. I mean, other than that, like, it's just like as an offline game, it's totally cool. It's great storyline. I think you would love it, Layla. I really do. I think it would probably touch you more so on a personal level. Right. Especially because of the 2 years. It's like it's super specific. You know what I'm saying? Like that could be a little triggering, but just as a streaming game, just for me, just the whole reading out loud was just it just that's how I didn't stream
I think that's
the game,
more on us.
That's how I played it. Was just from that perspective.
I feel several folks saying they feel old. We're so young, y'all. Come on, quit beating yourself.
No, guys, I'm older than all of you.
I don't believe it. I absolutely don't believe
it. I did that like your age challenge, and so many people would be like, no way. And I was like, no, dude, it's true.
Right.
We're all young folks here. I won't stand for the blasphemy. The Kid Marley saying, bro, so many indie games have an emotional effect on me, especially ones with a well-written story or great soundtrack. Yeah, I think this week's games, Kid Marley, I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts about them because, like...
Song? Okay, so I have to honestly say that going back to Garden of the Sea, the soundtrack, the song at the end, I had that on repeat for awesome. A good 2 hours. Like, it was the most...
Yeah, the music was great.
Beautiful song I had ever heard. It was just so... Wow. Like, if you have a loved one and you want to be like, or you want to get in good with some significant other that you are, like, interested in, I am telling you right now, go to Itch, go to that game.
Like sex music vibes? Is that what we're talking about?
I don't know. Like, if you want to impress somebody, I'm telling you right now, if you want to impress, if you're crushing on someone and y'all are vibing and you want to impress someone right now during the pandemic, you send them that song because it is just so beautiful.
I can't wait for the game to have all these, like, review quotes that are all, like, moving, powerful experience, and then, like, great sex music at the end.
If you want to get a BF or a girlfriend or a significant other, play this song, send it. It was beautiful. Like, honestly, if I'd never, whatever, I'd be like, hey, listen to this. Like, this would be on the soundtrack, Like, I tell you, I think if I were to send this to some guy, like, they'd be very impressed by it. They'd be like, oh, dang.
You heard it here first, folks. Indie game music, the ultimate aphrodisiac.
Sorry, I just remembered that. But like, the music of your game was absolutely beautiful too. Like, the way that it transitioned with it kept with the story. Like, something dramatic happened, it switched, but it had that nice ease transition to it. It wasn't like peaceful, she's confused going on, and then dun. It wasn't like that at all. But I'm sorry, I had to.
No, I totally feel you. That's a good point.
Oh my god, I had on repeat. It was beautiful.
Yeah, Kid Marley actually also talking about playing games like Genesis Noir and Spiritfarer had me in my emotions within minutes. I totally feel you. I'm excited. Genesis Noir, I think, didn't it just launch on Game Pass? I played it during the Steam Game Festival and really, really thought it was awesome. So I can't wait to play that further. So we still got one more game to cover here. So I think we'll have to make the jump to the final one. But huge shout out to Mad Scientist 92. Let's clap it up for you and your entire team. Really appreciate you being on here. I know it's the super early for you. And so appreciate you staying up to hang out with us, or waking up early to hang out with us. Also,
they said that they're working full time on that game too, or all of them been working full time. So appreciate all the hours that you guys are putting in as a team.
Yeah. In their free time, like all the extra time that they're doing. Yeah, they're doing some work for sure. You are absolutely right. Really appreciate you for sure. Awesome. So that was EDDA Café. I'll drop the link in one more time. So make sure you all show the team some love and check out their games for sure. If you're not on itch.io, you need to be. It's one of the best places to find indie games ever. Like, it's just an amazing spot. So the last game we are going to talk about, everyone, is a recommendation from our very own Legend. Appreciate you suggesting this one this week. I had a lot of fun with this game, and my kids did too.
So goofy.
It is very cool. Let me pull it up here for everybody to see. Let me check to see if I can change the tag for it. This is Ethereal Estate. We should say it is available for free on Steam. Is it on here? Yes, it is. Sweet. Sorry, one more second, y'all. Just want to make sure we're tagging everything. So Ethereal Estate. Oh, Mad Scientist also saying, thanks for the appreciation. Please looking forward to the continuation. Nami, the writer, also sent her regards. Shout out. Yeah, shout out to your whole team. Please send our love from the U.S. to Indonesia, and looking forward to seeing all the great work you guys are going to be doing now and into the future. Really looking forward to it. And Mike Bierman, Death Machine, also saying, great job on the visual novel, and thanks for taking time to talk with us. Yeah, thanks for the kind words, Bierman, towards Mad Scientist. Appreciate you there. Okay, I'm going to drop this in the chat. This is the link to our final game of the night, and it's Ethereal Estate. Ethereal Estate is a game that was developed by Emergent Studios and published by C&M. As an Ethereal Estate agent, your job is to make a mess out of a mansion and its helpless inhabitants. Never before has a ghost unleashed such devastating chaos until now. So this is a 1 to 2 player game. You can play it split screen co-op, where, as you just heard in the description, you're ghosts trying to essentially wreck this house. It gave me strong Goat Simulator vibes, where you kind of go crazy with the world and have some, like, objectives and just kind of explore it. It has like that sandbox feel. My kids absolutely loved all the chaos that they could cause in this game. I got lots more to say, but I want to hear y'all's thoughts. What did you all think about Ethereal Estate?
Can I go really quick?
Please.
So this one reminded me of so I want to say back over a decade ago, the Xbox Kinect came out. And one of the free-to-play games you could play on that was Haunt. And it's where you play as a ghost, kind of like traversing through a mansion. And I swear that's what this game gave me heavy vibes of playing Haunt. Except this one, you can play with your with a controller or a mouse and keyboard, whereas with Haunt you were playing like via your Kinect, so you were standing up and you were kind of mobile throughout the whole game. But this one was a lot of fun. It was cute. I like how you could how the mansion was like the afterlife, and you could do your damage to it and then you could reset the afterlife. And you could mess with the residents in there as you wished, but then sometimes they would come back to life and I was like, I killed you.
You could bring them back to life. There was like that little Ankh kind of I guess associated with Osiris they were talking about, and you could bring the bodies back to life.
Sometimes the bodies would come back to life without me realizing it. And so I was like, oh, like, you're back. And so it was kind of it was kind of fun, like messing with interacting with the world and doing things. You do have like objectives, but you're not hard pressed to do any of them. You could just mess with things as you wish. So
Yeah.
it was very, very open in that sense. It was fun, but it reminded me a lot of Haunt for sure.
It's cool you mentioned that, Emmy, because it actually reminded me of a game with a similar title that I'm very curious if anyone in the chat has ever played before. It's called Haunting. It's a game where you were, if anybody wants to look it up for Sega Genesis, such a cool game where you were essentially like a kid. This is a very 90s theme. You were a kid that died in like a skateboarding accident, and so you were haunting the family that owned the skateboarding company. And so you'd just be like kind of like this green like ghost, and you would like possess things in their house to cause them to like be afraid because you wanted to run them out of the house. So it's interesting you mentioned Haunt. I forgot about that one, but also was thinking Haunting as well.
Yeah.
I see other folks talking about Goat Simulator in the chat as well. Yeah, Goat Simulator, if you haven't played it before, it's kind of like a kind of similar vibe where it's like a sandbox, physics-based game where you're kind of running around causing chaos, like little objectives here and there, kind of going crazy with like getting points by blowing things up, doing whatever. Yeah. And this very much has that feel. And the fact that it's split screen also is a lot of fun. Legend, what were your thoughts? This was one of the ones that you recommended.
This was hilarious. I burned the house down.
Yeah.
I threw stuff out the windows. I was like shoving all kinds of things in the toilet and the tub. I threw all like the stuff down, and then I reset it because I couldn't find all the keys. It took me like, it was weird. Like I couldn't find all the, I was like, ooh, well, I wonder what happened. And like when you reset it though, it doesn't mess with your objectives, which is really cool. But I got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I got almost all, I think, of the objectives.
I think like, you might be the gamer of the week, Legend.
Dude, I was like, I wonder what Mike did. Like, how many did he hit?
I think you beat me, Legend.
I did almost all of the objectives, and then I accidentally did like 3 of the secret ones, because most of the objectives that you do by accident, just like causing chaos.
Yeah, exactly. Burning somebody alive achievement. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I did that. I burned someone alive. I did the stove. I was I electrocuted all the pots on the stove, and I was putting all like the meat in it. And, I was trying to
found a way to cook.
I'm trying to cook. I took like this firecracker, and I was like blowing. Like I accident. Okay, so like there's this trunk in the bedroom, and you open it, and I don't know why, but there's like sausage meats in it.
Yeah, exactly. I remember that one.
So I just like, and I lit them, and it exploded. Like the meat went like everywhere, and then it said something about like giving your doll like when you had to give like the stuffed animal a haircut, right? So like I was like, how do I do that? Like. And so I'm like holding it, and I'm flipping it around, and it's just like moving or whatever, and I threw it at stuff, and nothing was going on. I'm like, what do I do? So then I picked up a bunch of knives from like the kitchen and was tossing knives at it, like trying to get it to, like, and it does.
It works.
Like, yeah.
Okay.
It was just I did so many things. I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, go through the list. I was like, how do I? And I found this. I was like, where would a battery be? I'm looking everywhere for this battery, and then I lit the battery up. And then, because it said cooking, right? So I'm like, how am I supposed to do that once so I shoved the battery on the stove. I thought, like, something's got to cook, right? It's a stove. And it had nothing to do with that. Yeah, I don't even remember how I got that achievement. I didn't end up getting
It's fun how it does feel like kind of just, it's a kind of low stress, just kind of...
so nonsense.
Just play around and have fun.
I didn't like it with keyboard. I tried it with keyboard. It was weird. It was weird with keyboard.
I surprisingly ended up playing it with controllers. I think because when we did split screen, I don't know if you could choose to do controller and keyboard at the same time. So we just chose 2 Xbox controllers. I do want to do a quick shout out because I'm quite surprised that Kid Marley, Mystic Tightness, and Mike Bierman Death Machine all are familiar with Haunted or Haunting for the Sega Genesis. So that's always cool to know all these obscure games. I thought people weren't playing that you all did too.
I reset it and I wrecked the place, and I was looking for keys and
the keys. You want to talk a bit about that?
I lit the money on fire, and like I totally demolished like the wine cellar. I was like, I didn't know how to like do the, because I saw the candles, because I saw this right in the preview, it says the candle, and then tossed it. Well, I don't know why, but like the candles, but I kept trying, like I did firecracker on it, and I threw it in the fire, and it wouldn't, like this one, it like wouldn't light up. I didn't know what to do, and then so I just brought like a stool. Oh, I tried to burn. By the way, you can't burn the TV, and you can't burn the pool table, and you can't burn the music player. That doesn't go on the fire.
That's a critique that I had. I wish that there was a little bit more, like they kind of went a little bit beyond what you could do in the game. So
Mhm.
like, for example, like I took a steak that was in the freezer and I put it in the fireplace and I was expecting it to cook, but it's like it was like unaffected. Like I would have wanted that to kind of show like that
You know
I
what you
did
had to do?
that.
Though? You had to put the TV in the fireplace, then take the meat and put it on top of the TV, and that was TV dinner.
What?
TV dinner, yes.
That's
how I
cool.
got that.
It's so
accident.
cute
I was
because it was
oh,
like
what happened?
That's
it's
cool.
so cute because it was like juvenile, like
Yeah.
humor, and I really liked it. The physics of the game works a bit like that game, Moving Out, which is on Xbox Game Pass.
Kind of the
but
ragdollish feel, like, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely had like a ragdoll feel, like you know when you were moving objects, and you know when the
I kept
resident
knocking those people
died.
out, man.
I didn't quite understand. So the mansion was representative of the afterlife. So like these people that were there until you killed them, were they like is it like purgatory for them? And then they become ghosts.
And then you just sort
like,
of mess with them.
Yeah.
I was kind of like trying to figure out like why these people were there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like why were you here just to mess? Like it was like a chef and some like woman who was like kind of scantily clothed, and then this like older lady that was just freaked out at everything. Like every time, but they were all drunk too. Did you notice that? Like they were all drinking.
Yeah, I don't know if that was part of like the ragdoll appearance like that the game kind of had, but there was definitely, I mean, if you went downstairs in the basement, it's just an entire wine cellar. So
Yeah,
it makes
that's
sense
true.
that they were drunk.
A lot of wine.
Because it was a lot of wine. I had a lot
They
of
were
fun
drinking.
breaking
You
all
didn't
of
see
those.
that?
Yeah, breaking all of those bottles. I mean, if I was in the afterlife, I think I would be drinking too. So I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all. But I was just kind of like trying to figure out, like, you know, and maybe I'm looking a little too deep into it. Maybe I was like, is there supposed to be a story here that I, you know, as you go through objectives, you kind of figure out that? I don't know. You know, I tried my best.
I think it's just like chaos simulator, to be honest. I was thinking about that too. I was looking over here on the other screen to try to see if I could read any more into the story, but yeah, I feel you, Emmy. I don't think, if there is
It's
story,
probably not that deep.
it's
Yeah.
deeply nested. But it is
Like-
cool, like, that you can find like things. What I like about games like this and like Goat Simulator and whatnot is that like there's not really much like hand holding. It's like discovery. So you find a key. Oh, what does this go to? Then I can open this, and now I can you know, poison this, or like I can get a battery that allows me to electrocute this, and I can throw an electrocuted fork at someone. Like, you know, it's just like every little thing opens up, or you can open up this thing that allows you to revive and bring people back to life. So it's cool, and especially with like the 2-player, like watching my kids both do it. Like surprisingly, my little daughter was the one who was murdering everybody, and my son was reviving them all and bringing them back to life.
Funny. Yeah, I was like, I was killing, I was reviving him, I was messing, I did so much. Like I took the thing and I threw it all over the walls, and I was just wreaking so much havoc. It was so funny because the objectives are just so silly, but they're also kind of, they're a little hard to get if you aren't like, because it's meant to just, it's kind of remind me of Maze, because Maze, like those puzzles were just like you didn't even really think, it would just, if I could figure it out super easy, like yo, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I do like that
like,
puzzle aspect that you said, like that you're just kind of thinking about what the developers were thinking about, and it's kind of absurd with the approach
because
they're
like
taking.
the TV dinner, like honestly, that was I would never have thought that is what it would have been. I just
That's so
wanted
cool.
to.
I didn't get
the
that
TV,
one.
and I thought like, oh, like I'll just put the steak on here. Like what would happen? I'll just throw in meat because it said cooking. So I was like, I'll just toss it. I wonder if I could. And
Yeah.
next thing I know, I got the tea. It was so funny. It was so silly. And then like the toilet one, I got by accident. So I was like, I'm just gonna pick up the plunger, like, put it in the toilet. Like, I'm just putting things in the toilet. And
It's fun to just discover and see what works, and then you get like little
Yeah.
achievements just for like destruction and like painting. I guess like, you know, like stains on the wall from like the wine and the fruit and stuff. Layla, what did you think? I mean, just, you know, hearing the conversation, looking at the trailer, is this something you'd be interested in checking out?
So, I've been laughing as I'm looking at the trailer. I just watched them stuff a person in a cupboard.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm just like, it reminds me. The only, like, I don't think I played anything like this, but I would say the closest thing, like what came to mind as I'm watching it, is like the catastrophe game, like where you're a cat, you just go and you destroy everything.
That's
with
right.
the timer and whatnot, which was one. Then I
That's
just
a good one.
for
Yeah.
some reason just thought of Fusroda as they like blast everything off the table. Like you're in Skyrim, you just destroy everything in the room.
Yeah.
And whatnot. But it does look like it's co-op, so I do like that. And it's local, so it's another thing. Like, you know, you can play with your kids and whatnot. But it does look like fun. I appreciate any game that's gonna help me with like my raging. Like I feel like I would stop playing something that was making me mad and play this because I could just destroy everything. I feel accomplished. You know.
Yeah.
And I like the little objectives. The TV dinner thing is absurd. You're right, but it's hilarious.
I love
like
that.
Yeah, so funny, and then it's how you can just like flip stuff. You know, it's like it reminded me of every time I flipped a table. It reminded me of that Teresa meme, you know, from the Housewives of New Jersey, where she flips the you wanted every time I flipped the table. It just that meme like popped in my head because you're just like just flipped it out and you'd open the door. You can open the doors individually to look for stuff. Because you're like a comb, you have to like comb something, so you're just like literally just picking things up like a snap, and then you just throw it at shit.
Yeah.
Throw it, and you like can like immense this power, whatever, and just kind of fling it.
And you could fly too, and go through walls and things like
you go
that.
through some of the walls,
which
which
cool.
was really cool. Made it super convenient, honestly.
Yeah.
Be able to do some of like the flying because it's you're a ghost, like you would assume that you'd be able to. So that was a fun mechanic because not. Games that represent you as a ghost, they don't really do that kind of thing. But it was so funny because you're just like, screw this, I don't want to open a drawer, I'll just take the whole thing. Just dump the whole thing.
Yeah, Emmy, did you have any, like, what was your most memorable experience with the game? Did you end up, what kind of chaos did you cause? What kind of player is Emmy when you're a ghost?
So I started off pretty slow, you know, like I was like, okay, what do I do when I'm interacting with the world? So I figured out the powers really quickly, which is like, because I didn't look into the game at all. I just booted it up and started playing. So I realized you could pick things up and then you can like do like a energy beam out to kind of, I guess either break things or topple over tables. So I started doing that. Oddly enough, I killed 2 people during my playthrough. Again, one of them, which was one of the young ladies, she kind of just came back to life after a few minutes, which I was like, that's weird, but okay. So I don't know if I did something necessarily to trigger that. It didn't seem like I did.
I don't think you finished her off. You got to be really violent with them to. You might have not. I think you knocked her out.
No. The ghost. So she was on fire. No.
Okay.
She was on fire.
So you tried to kill her.
She literally was like, no, I didn't. So here's what happened. So I did the energy beam thing to the table, and she was walking around it. And I didn't know the table had a candelabra. So as soon as it toppled over, the whole area went on fire. And like she was like running around and I was like, ooh, let me go to the kitchen and try to get some water. And I couldn't figure it out. I found a spray bottle. So of course, by the time I got back, it was way too late. And she was dead. And I was like, oh, well, whoops. Like, and then the second time, it was the gentleman, and I'm trying to think, what did I do? I think I set him on fire too. Like he was on, so like she was on accident and he was on purpose. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Because I just wanted to see like, okay, so like I could just set things on fire. So I was just trying to like see what I could manipulate in the world. And it was just like how Legend was saying, at a certain point, there are certain items that you just can't manipulate, or like they don't manipulate the way they should, you know, depending on like the physics of things. So I think that was for me like probably my biggest critique. Is that I kind of wish they kind of pushed that boundary and said like, oh, if you do this will happen as an effect of that. The game for the most part does it with a lot of the items, but obviously not with all of them. And so
Yeah.
I kind of wish they would have pushed that boundary a little bit more and said, oh well, you could do this. Another thing, and I don't know if this was something that you need to play the game more, I wish you had more access to different powers.
Mm.
You know, like I said, going back to like the times where I played Haunt, not only could you interact with the world in that game, but you also could fight other ghosts in that game too, and you had other abilities as a ghost that you had to do that. I kind of wish this game gave, like, I don't know, maybe like there's an energy ball that pushes things forward, maybe something that would like suck things back,
Yeah.
or you know, maybe you could phase through items. I was surprised that as a ghost I couldn't phase through items. Just things like that I think would have made it a little bit more fun and chaotic, but just for what the game was, it's very fun. Anybody could waste a couple hours just going through and playing this game. You know, it's just absurdist fun.
Yeah.
And I really liked it. And the game is smart enough to know that it's absurdist too. You know, which I really like. It's not like it takes itself very seriously either. You know, I think personally, as a nitpick, I wish there was a little bit more to the lore of the game. Like, I wish we knew why we were a ghost, or
Gotcha.
what we were supposed to be. You know, like, it
Because
gave
the
you
ghosts have like a really cool
objectives.
design to them as well, so it would be cool to know a little bit more if possible. I feel you on that.
Yeah, I would have wanted to know just a little bit more on that. You know, but you know, for what it was, it's just a fun game, and the fact that there's, you know, two-player co-op. You know, if you get someone together and you're just like, hey, let's just be goofy and play this
Yeah.
title and stuff, I could totally see myself definitely playing this again, and just like playing it with someone else and just being kind of goofy about it. It's like the kid friendly Phasmophobia. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, as you said, like age wise, like, you know, my 6 and 12-year-olds were playing this, and it's kind of cutesy. Sure, yeah, for everybody listening, yeah, you are burning people alive and electrocuting them, but it's all done in like a cartoonish manner, and you can just revive everybody back up. So, a safe
Yeah, well,
space
when I
to
first
murder.
saw this game on Steam, I thought it was VR because the graphics are actually really good with the hands.
Yeah.
I thought
this
like
would be a great VR game, and I would be very shocked if it's not a VR title, because this would be a wonderful VR title.
Yeah.
I could just see, like, especially if you started having events and you had an Oculus Rift, and you know, you just kind of put it on someone and just let them have at it.
Yeah.
It, like I said, it reminded me of Haunt so much that I was like, this would be like a perfect little party game, you know? And I mean, even with the stuff that you can do inside of the game, you could kind of like say, you know, hey, who could cause the most destruction in 60 seconds? You know, like make it
Yeah.
like little fun, and, you know, kind of add little elements to it. On the outside, you could definitely do that. It was very, very fun. I see that the date said that it was supposed to release December of this year.
So I think
is
it's
this title.
it was actually I want to say the devs are French, and so most European countries, like how they do dates is they switch they're unlike the
Oh,
U.S.
so February. So it's February 12th is when it released.
I think
Okay.
March 21st. Yeah, but nearby, or maybe I misread the dates. But
I
yeah.
think it said 12/2.
Oh, you're probably right.
2021.
I think you're right.
So I guess that would probably be like
Yep,
February
March
12th.
12th. March 12th. It says.
Oh, or
yeah.
is it March 12th?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. This is a very cute title. Definitely would play it again. Just for the fun of it. I enjoy absurdist humor,
Yeah.
so it's it was very, very cute, and I was kind of surprised at I guess the one element that that surprised me was that it looks like there's so many things you can explore in this game. It almost seems endless. I didn't get to the bottom of the objective list, but it seems like there's just so many things that you can do. I don't know. They had a downstairs level. I wish they had an upstairs
Yeah.
as well in the house. So I don't know if that's something they could expand upon, but it was a fun title.
Yeah, it would be cool to take this in some more directions. We should say that this is a free-to-play game for everybody out there on Steam right now. I dropped the link in there. So, especially, I think, considering that aspect of it, there's a lot of stuff here. And I totally feel you, Emmy, on the VR piece as well. Mystic Titanus also saying yes to that, and Mike Bierman Death Machine also saying this would be perfect for VR. I think that would give you that kind of visceral feel of like destruction and chaos that you can cause. Yeah, I absolutely love that.
That'd be really cool. Yeah, I had to take a second glance at it because I wasn't sure that it was not VR because of just how the graphics are. The graphics are really well made. The whole 3D CGI type effect to it was really neat.
Yeah.
I definitely agree on Emmy's points, so I think there's so much more you could probably do with this game. And the objectives, like, you don't have to do it in any certain order. I actually did reach, like, the bottom, not the secret objectives, which I don't even know how I did that. Because they're just all question marks. You just kind of accidentally do it. Except for the ones that are actually listed for you to do. That always has a hint to you, by the way, so you have an idea of how to maybe get to it. Yeah, I mean, I hit, like, you always hit it randomly, so they're not in any specific order, but I think I reached some of the bottom ones, but they were just the doofiest. Like, I just still can't get over, like, the whole, like, it was just the doofiest thing. Like, if you just want, like, a stress-relieving game, if you want a game just to sort of, like, BS in and play with someone at home with or whatever, like, this is perfect for that, honestly. It's so goofy and so just ridiculous, like, it was refreshing, honestly.
Yeah.
The titles that I've had to play, like, lately, you know, that I've chosen to play. I mean, I'm not like, you know what I mean. I chose it for myself, but it was a definitely a lighthearted game compared to everything else that I've had in my lineup so far. The last few weeks, it was cool. It was an accidental find. I don't even know how I found it. I think it was I don't remember if it was part of the Indie World Order, and I just happened to just sort of look it up and glance at it, because, you know, me and my list, and I was like, lists and which games had demos and whatever, and I was kind of like doing my thing, and I think that's how I found it, was that I believe this is also a part of the Indie World Order convention that's going on now until April 3rd, I believe.
Oh, cool. We'll definitely have to check that out for sure. It's awesome seeing all these different.
It's cool. It's so cool. You have to.
For sure.
The whole convention, you download it like a game, and you're a pirate, and you're going to these little, like, indie booths.
Sweet.
Like, you go to, like, these indie booths, and you collect these hats, and you can take, like, these photos. And I found, like, all these masks, and I was like,
that's awesome.
You could stream it if you wanted to, but it was totally cash. Like, it's keyboard, and you go in, and as soon as you go into this booth, it has 1, 2, or 3. So you can go to their Twitter page right there.
Yeah.
You can go to the Steam website. You can go to whatever third-party thing. You can go to, like, their Reddit if they have one. Like, I definitely, like, if you guys want to check it out, it's the @Indie World Order. It's on their Twitter, but it's called IWO. This is IW.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop that into the chat right now.
Well, I don't want to do it anyway, so. But yeah, it was so cool. Like, the pizza situation is there, by the way. They have their own booth that's set up too.
I think Magic Twins are they on there too? I thought I saw.
Yeah,
them.
they're on there. I have okay, let me tell you, I have my list. There are so many indies. So they had a schedule that was up starting, like, they started like this on the 28th, I would have to say. And so they have different streamers. They have this schedule up, which is really cool, by Stream Dragon, which is, I guess, a third-party website. And they have a list of people who's streaming. It actually goes directly to their Twitch page, and they're playing quite a few, either the full game, obviously, but there are some demos that are provided. That I was able to really cool check out. Like, if you guys have ever played the Figment series, there's a Figment 2. Like, it's so crazy. So I went to there's different islands that you can attend, which is, like, the different types of games that they have. And
That's
I only
cool
made
idea.
it to Smiley Island and Hourglass Island. And I don't know where the pizza situation is, but I know it is there. But there's so many good games. At Eve's Awake, there's a visual novel that's coming out. It's supposed to be released October 31st. And it is a Lovecraftian game, which I'm a huge fan of anything H.P. Lovecraft, so that game was right on my alley. And it's a visual novel that has the choices are insane. Like, you're playing as this character. There's different factions of this family that sort of deals with like the world itself. Like there's the artist and the one who serves and the one who forgets and the one who it was so crazy. Like it was.
I love this
excited
idea.
for
I mean,
this
it's such a cool
novel.
idea to do. Like it.
I'm actually gonna send you. Like I said, I have my list, but I was actually gonna send you like some of the demos that I tried because like I think you guys would love. The Last Stand Aftermath is coming out. Polter Pals looks really cute. Dreamscaper, of course. Nico Ghost Jump has a demo. I have all like the demos highlighted in my book. It's so funny, but
Yeah, I'm seeing the games too. Yeah, there's different islands, like you said, Love Islands, Hourglass Islands. Ninja. I mean, it's such a cool idea, and I see a lot of games.
Each island, it's not even like oh, don't swim. You can't swim in the ocean, but you're on like this pirate ship, and you can blow stuff up. And there's actual like there's different parts of the thing that's interactive. So there's like these cannons that you can find, and you can like explode. Like I don't know what. I've had one hell of a week. I've just been blowing stuff up. Like
Yeah, this is awesome.
up, like this other pirate ship, and I think you can blow up a castle or something. But it's just it's different indie booths, different islands, and you just kind of like navigate your way through it. It's really cool.
It's
really
such a
cool.
brilliant idea. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I dropped the 2 links there. I definitely want to check this out and encourage others to. And see Amar actually referencing. Hey Amar, by the way, thanks so much for joining us. Saying that he went to a virtual convention last weekend and they had the MagFest Gaylord Hotel virtually, which is really cool. That was the Indie Maker Syndicate, which was an awesome event. Super excited. We actually got to feature Laser Girl there too, which was a lot of fun. So yeah, it's really cool seeing all these different approaches. Some of this stuff, I think, even when we go back to in person.
Very in what's that word? Ingenuitive? Is that, did I say it right? It was really
Intuitive,
cool.
ingenious,
like,
yeah.
It was really like I was like, oh, because at first I was like kind of meh about it. Like I didn't really think anything of it. I just thought I'm just gonna make a list of my schedule, what games I want to check out. Which of course I never got to watch any of them, but I made at least I downloaded all the demos that I wanted to play, so
Sweet.
I have all of those. But it was really just like an ingenious idea to have a convention where you're a pirate and you're just like blowing stuff up. And I've seen people like they've been showcasing the streamers that are on there and to have indie games off. Intel was a little weird. That's there and they're talking about gaming, and when you like go inside the booth, it kind of automatically starts up. So as soon as you walk in, there's like a TV, like literally a TV, and it'll automatically play the game for you. Sometimes it takes a minute for it to load up. And then they have like the booths, of course, and there's an Intel Gaming, I think, on the Smiley Island, which I felt at a place personally because as you're kind of passing through to collect like there's these tokens you can collect too. I don't know what they do, but like I was just collecting them, and they were talking about like the different types of the Intel Gaming, and it was all about AAA games, which I thought was dumb because I'm like, why do you have? I mean, I get it because it's Intel and you want Intel to sponsor your stuff, so like I congratulate Intel for doing that. But to talk about AAA games during an indie convention, I felt was out of place.
Gotcha.
It was weird.
Yeah,
But,
it's a cool idea to have that virtual environment. I see Amar is saying bring back PlayStation Home. I didn't spend too much time in PlayStation Home, but I love the concept of it. And think that those kind of Second Life-y virtual worlds of sorts where you can interact with things and hang out with people are really cool. I dropped the link in there right now. Everybody check that out for sure. I know we're a little bit over time here, so I'll get our link set up, and I want to make sure that we're going to raid. I see that it's Derivative streaming here. We never get a chance to raid his stream since he's always on the stream itself. So I think he'd be great to raid right now. But as we do our outros here, I'm going to drop a few links in here. If you are not following the amazing folks on this panel, make sure to take a moment. It will only take you a moment, I promise, to show them all some love, and I know that they would appreciate it as well. Let me drop all 3 of their links here, and if you're not following Potions and Pixels, certainly would appreciate if you do that as well. Hopefully everybody had a great time today. Really enjoyed having you all, whether you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook. Appreciate all the amazing folks contributing to the conversation in the chat. One of you will be contacted soon because you'll have been selected to win a copy of Magic Twins, courtesy of the developers at Flying Beast Labs, and special thanks to Emmy for making that arrangement possible. Really appreciate you there for sure. And appreciate all the great feedback. Mystic Titan is saying great game choices as always. Thank you, Mystic. Really appreciate that. Yeah, we went into most of these pretty blind, so I'm glad they all turned out really good. But I think we got a good kind of sixth sense on what indie games are going to be fun to try. Thanks to the devs who joined us. I also see that Finn was in the chat, the developer of a garden on the sea. So appreciate you joining. I don't know if Finn's still in there or not, but thanks for at least jumping in the chat. Appreciate you. Appreciate everyone. I'll clap it up for all the devs and people who shared and participated. And thanks Amar saying he missed this, but he'll catch it on YouTube. We had a really fun episode. It's always fun talking to you guys. I love talking to you guys. This is always great, having these deep conversations, exploring all these great indie games. So I dropped your info in the chat. Why don't we start off with Angelic Layla over here at the top. Why don't you let folks know again who you are and where they can find you?
For sure. I'm Angelic Layla. You can catch me on Twitch, Angelic_Layla. You also catch me here every Thursday, or however we're going to do that on Thursdays when we do EDDA Game Club. I'm also an Athena Alliance goddess of duality, as well as our founder, Emmy. And Net Legend is also, she's the goddess of indies, which is very, fitting. So that I'm there in the Alliance. You can catch me on the Game Hers. I'm an ambassador for them, and I'm going to be featured very soon with their ads and everything.
That's awesome.
And catch me on NW, the NW clan for Shinobi Striker, and I'm all over the place. Snapchat and Instagram are my major platforms. I respond the best on those. You can always see what I'm doing, or you need some uplifting quotes or some randomness in your life. I'm definitely on there.
Love it.
But yeah, yep. Thank you.
And
I
we're
appreciate
hoping you'll have your computer fixed up soon, and
yes,
all that will be good.
Appreciate
you. Let's clap it up for Angelic Layla. Always love having you. Appreciate you so much. All right, speaking of Emmy, why don't you let folks know? I dropped your link for where folks can find you on Twitch. Why don't you let folks know again who you are and how they can get involved with the Athena Alliance stuff as well?
Just first and foremost, Mike, thank you so much for inviting me on being on tonight's episode of Indie Game Club. My name is Emmy Venner. I am one of the co-founders for the Athena Alliance. You can catch me at twitch.tv/demonangelclone, or if we're doing an event, you can also catch me on the Athena Alliance CLT Twitch. We do fun stuff there. We feature not only the Gaming Goddess team, but we're currently doing a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. So if you're into things like that, come and check us out. And I'm again really happy to have been on this episode. It's always fun to kind of get out and try new gaming experiences.
We always love having you, Emmy, and I dropped the link for Athena Alliance as well. So everybody, make sure, if you're not following Athena Alliance, make sure to take a second right now and do so. And they're also on all the social media platforms, so make sure to follow those as well. And thank you, Emmy, again for arranging everything with the Magic Twins and working with the developers to get us Steam keys to play and talk about that game. So thank you, Emmy, as always. Always love having you. Let's clap it up for Emmy, everyone. And last but not least, Legend of the Star. Legend, I dropped your link in the chat. Why don't you let folks know again who you are and what you stream and where they can find you?
Yeah, so, Legend of the Star. I stream here on Twitch Tuesdays through Thursdays around 10:30 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All indies, all the time. For the most part, anyway. Just the different indie demos, either just casual gameplay or they've been provided by a dev. On Fridays and Saturdays, I stream on Glimish TV, same name. Super easy to find. I'm like the only one there that stream indies right now. So
you're making your mark early on. I love that.
Yeah, I'm trying. Like, honestly, like that's the whole point of why I just indie visibility is all I'm here for, So I thought, why not? Like, give Glimish a try. And I figured, I don't want to overwork myself, so just do twice a week and dedicate those 2 days a week. So if I miss streams, I'm not going to be like, I have to make this up because I missed a day, and so I'm going to stream extra time. It's like, no, dude, I'm Fridays and Saturdays. I'm just gonna stream there. I'm just gonna focus my content on that. So that's where you'll always find me. Unless otherwise, like I tweet it. I make special circumstances, obviously, if I am playing with a dev or someone. But yeah, so I'm just the goddess of indies. I just stream indies all the time, and I love being here. And all these games were fun, and I'm so glad you guys liked the Ethereal Estate.
Yeah, thank you for recommending that one for sure.
It was cool. Yeah, I'm so glad. There's like a spooky one too. Like there's other, like I said, there's a bunch of demos that I want to share with you guys. So I'll be sending you guys those links, of course. And then of course, if you need any information from me as far as what games to check out from the Indie World Order, you can go to them. You can come to me because I have the list here in my book. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's clap it up for Legend of Star. Always love having you. Thanks, Legend. Appreciate you. And appreciate all of you at home or wherever you are right now for watching and participating, whether you're watching live or sometime in the future. I got to clap it up for you. Appreciate you and not only participating in the chat, but supporting this type of content. Really appreciate it so much. And so last thing we're going to do, don't leave yet. We're going to raid Dirigitive's channel. If you're a regular viewer of us, you know Dirigitive's a regular on this show. And make sure to show Dirigitive some love. Like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're going to set that up now as we sign off. So jump into that raid, folks. Again, really appreciate everybody and looking forward to talking again in the future. Good night, everyone.